How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Culture War Podcast. We got an awesome show. We're hanging out with some really cool people. Right now, there's a big news story around whether or not Kamala Harris can maintain her support in the black community. Donald Trump apparently is doing better than ever with young black men, and this could sink Kamala Harris. We don't know for sure what's going to happen. A lot of people, they said it 2016, 2020, that Trump's improving dramatically with the black vote. But we've got some people here, probably experts, I guess, considering one of your first video, or not, I don't know about one of your first videos, but let me put it this way. Shout out to my mom. She's a huge fan of you guys.
Awesome. Oh, wow.
Huge fan. And she said that from back in the day, she watched you guys listening to Thunderstruck from AC/DC.
Yeah.
Oh.
And she loved it because she's a AC/DC fan. This is the music she listened to, and then she sees you guys listening to her music, and it feels good. It's like, hey, they like what I like, and they're discovering it for the first time. She loves that. And you had a BLM poster.
We
on
did.
That video.
Yeah. We did.
Now you're Trump supporters, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's start. I don't know who wants to go first. You guys introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Brock Appiah. I'm from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, part of the Cartier family. 25, almost 26 years old, and just trying to make my way through life and figure this out.
Yeah, man, I'm Solomon from Houston, Texas. I mean, we all met running track and field together, and, we're here, excited.
My name is Tahj Whitfield. I'm from Clarksville, Tennessee. Just excited just to be here. It's a blessing.
Right on.
Yeah, no, I'm Brent Rhone, from Oklahoma City, like Brock. Yeah, and we just met running track and start shooting videos, and here we are.
It's amazing. Yeah, so I mean, again, I shout out my mom saying that she started watching you guys, not even political. It was just fun to see people enjoying music. You guys are a lot younger than she is. So it makes her feel good. And then all of a sudden, because she's definitely supporting Trump. Not always, though. A few years ago, she was not, maybe longer than a few years ago. But to see you guys evolve, she likes you even more. And she's like, I watch them all the time. She's so excited. She called me when she found out you guys are coming on the show. But how does this happen? Like, first, how do you guys start a YouTube channel, and how does it become to the point where you're like, Trump?
You want to go?
I mean, we were just reacting to music, man. The COVID hit. And really what happened, I think Officer Tatum, we seen one of his videos pop up. And I was like, who is this guy? And I clicked it, and I think it was Vivek Ramaswamy cooking Don Lemon. And we were like, it was pretty cool. It was fun to watch. So we were like, hey, this is pretty cool. So we just started reacting to Officer Tatum only. And then
Thomas Sowell.
Yeah, well, we got
Thomas Sowell really did.
Thomas Sowell flipped
really
the book
did.
for real for us.
Yeah, no,
That
he
dude's
really
a
did.
legend.
Yeah. No, he is.
Yeah.
He is.
We did his video on he explained how black culture came to what it is. That's probably one of our best videos. It's got 1 million, and I think that really opened our mind up to maybe things are a little differently than we've been led to believe.
Yeah.
And then Officer Tatum was another thing. We just agreed with everything he said. It was like, okay, this is controversial, but it's real talk he's saying.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing too. It's like, if this guy just tells you the truth, why is it controversial? What he's saying is not wrong.
No, facts.
Right.
Facts.
So tell me about the Thomas Sowell stuff.
So so we watched the Thomas Sowell video. I remember so people, when we used to do other reactions, people would request stuff in the comments. I remember people kept saying, do Thomas Sowell, do Thomas Sowell, do Thomas Sowell. So one day we would come out of class every day at 8, 9 p.m. and we would record 4 videos a day, every day. And I remember we needed a video, and I was like, we should just do the Thomas Sowell. They keep asking for it. And we did it. And we were in there for I think this was almost an hour-long video. And the video we reacted to was 15 minutes, I think, 15, 20 minutes. And we were in there for an hour just going back and forth, mind blown. And it was just crazy. He just opened our mind up to maybe conservatism isn't what we've been led to believe. Because, as young men, especially in our generation, they tell you Republicans are bad, Republicans are racist. But that's just what being conservative is being mostly on the right. So he just kind of opened our mind up to the idea that this is normal. It's not what you've been told.
You guys had you ever watched Thomas Sowell before that?
No.
They get you in the comments hey, watch this, and then you're like, whoa.
Yeah, literally.
The crazy part, he reacted to us too.
He did.
He watched us react to him, and he was surprised.
Awesome.
He seemed pretty unfazed, though.
Yeah, he started smiling. They were you're affecting the next generation. He said, it's great.
Another thing, too, that I would say, when we first started reacting, we would react to Tom McDonald a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And he would kind of have messages that would resonate with us. And he would say things that typically a younger black person wouldn't really agree with. And we would hear it and be like, well,
Yeah.
That's actually the truth. So for me, that's kind of why my mind started kind of changing in that direction, because it was like we were positive, but he just said this, and that. Yeah. But low key, that is true what he just said, and that's when I started thinking like, you know. And I remember me and Tahj one day when Trump in 2020, when Trump lost the election, we were sitting in the house and we were just like, we just started kind of even thinking about politics at all. Like, I didn't even think about voting or anything. And I wasn't like hard either way, but like I was kind of like everybody else. I was just like, yeah, I guess, you know, since I'm black, I'm a Democrat. And then that's when I just had a feeling. I was like, Tahj, I just feel like it wasn't good that he just lost that. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like this was a mistake. He was like, yeah, I feel like that too. And here we are now.
I definitely want to ask about that, the Democrat thing, but I do want to go back to Thomas Sowell real quick, because you were saying that he was saying something like that black culture is not supposed to be this way, or like what do you mean by that? Like, what was he saying?
I don't know what exactly he said, but he was bringing the redneck culture into it.
Cause of where it came from.
Yeah, he said like the ghetto black culture, the subculture is what he referred to it as. He said it comes from like European rednecks who were poor and blacks were among them after slavery. So like kind of being ghetto, they kind of adopted it because they were poor and blacks were poor, and that was just kind of how they adopted it. And he was basically saying like that's not what real black culture is, but it's uplifted as black culture. It's really like a subculture within black culture. And he was just basically saying like how like it's adopted as like something that's normal when it's really negative. It was like really deep. And I remember we were just sitting there like, that's so real. Like he's really breaking it down. Like to hear it from someone like him, like who's a way older guy than us, it's okay. So we're not really tripping when we say that this is bad and like this ain't really how we're supposed to be. But yeah, no, that really just opened our mind up to it. We watched a couple of his videos and the way he just breaks stuff down was really easy to digest.
He's a genius.
Definitely.
Yeah. But there's a conspiracy theory that racists intentionally promoted negative culture to black communities through rap music. And I'm not saying rap music itself is bad. I'm saying they put messages in there like get drunk, bang women,
for sure.
Yeah.
buy drugs and all that stuff, so that young men growing up would chase after something that was detrimental.
100%. That's a fact. Oh, that's facts. Yeah, that's 100% facts. Especially in the black community.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a fact, but I've heard several times like some of the same people who own some of these record labels own some prisons. So it's like you're trying to get them from here to there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a fact or
then
fact check me on that, but that's what I've heard.
Lyndon B. Johnson said we'll have black people wrapped around the Democrat Party for 200 years.
Yeah.
I think
so.
It's
a long time.
It's actually crazy. Speaking of that, it's actually crazy like the backlash you receive for like just being black and not saying you don't want to be a Democrat. Like it is insane. Like
what's it like?
Oh man, it's like we get like most of it's all online, never in person. In person, it's always love.
Always love. In person,
literally.
They ain't about that in person.
Nobody. It's never in person. I wouldn't start by saying that, but online we get coon, traitor, sellout, all this stuff, and like they be saying we grifting, like we just saying this for money. Whole time we dead serious. Like you ask any one of us, I know for a fact, you ask any of us what we say on camera, we'll tell you the same thing off camera. Like we're not on there BS, and we're keeping it 100. But people think like just because we have such an audience, we're just saying it for clicks.
Yeah.
I think I know for a fact we keeping it 100. Like
I remember when we first started the political content, people was like, "Yep, I mean this is a business plan at this point." I'm like, "Wow,
that is crazy."
These people are nuts, man. The idea that choosing a political faction is going to make you more money, it's the stupidest thing, because they say it about everybody. It's like if you did pop culture movies, and I mean, look at Call Her Daddy. The biggest podcasts are not talking about politics. They're only now because the politicians are trying to buy into them. Yeah. But the biggest podcasts are like maybe somewhat, they might mention something political. But you look at if I were to pull it up, you're going to find 3 guys talking about dinosaurs or something nonsense. General interest comedy shows, not overtly political. And then the moment you guys watch someone like Thomas Sowell and you're like, hey man, maybe they've been lying to us, and you get passionate about it, they say you're doing it for money.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy because like we don't just blindly agree with everything. Like if we don't agree with something, we'll just not agree. So like, I mean, I find it interesting. I think people just do that because they think the world should see things from their point of view. So when you kind of disrupt that and don't do that, or fall in line with what they think you should do, they start just throwing the labels and insults at you. But that, again, it's mostly online. Like in person, it's always love, especially from like People
Black
of color,
people,
like black people. Yeah, black people, Hispanic people. Like I was just in Dallas the other weekend. Dude came up to me, black dude came up to me, was like, dude, I love your videos. Like, so like every time we go out now, we get recognized by like people our age. And it's always positive, it's always love. So I love that, me personally.
Yeah, my mom loves your videos.
That's
Like I
awesome.
mentioned.
Yeah.
She's so excited.
No, actually, we were in LA actually at this movie premiere, and these old dudes came up. This old Hispanic dude, Los Angeles. Like, I love your videos. I watch every single one. Like, I want you to know you're making a difference because you found someone like me all the way in California. I was like, hey, thanks. Like, that's awesome.
I remember we went to the Reagan event. One of the producers was
yeah.
like, he was like, y'all the biggest people that's in here right now. I was like, it was surprising.
Isn't it crazy though that like you'll meet these people and they're gonna say, thank you for making your videos. I listen to them, I hear what you're saying. And then the people online who are mad at you and calling you slurs and names and all that stuff, it feels more like, you know, I'm just gonna be mean and call it a cult.
Oh, for sure.
You have to be aligned with the name of our club. We don't care what's true. We don't care what's false. If you guys make a video and you say, here's what we're thinking, they're not going to say, hey, do you want to have a conversation about this? They're going to insult you and attack you for doing it. There's no argument.
Yeah. Nobody try to have no middle ground at all for some reason. I don't know why we.
Yeah.
It's almost like you just break the narrative and go your own way. People get mad at you for that. Like, for thinking for yourself, like, oh, you don't think like us? Oh, you're not one of us then. You're a sellout. You're this, you're that. It's like, damn, dude. It's really, to me personally, we don't have to be enemies. It's not that deep to me.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he may see something and say it's red. I might say it's blue. That's just what it is. It's not the end of the world, in my opinion.
So you guys were all doing track and stuff in college?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Well, tell me about that. Like, and then you end up meeting, you make a YouTube channel. Let's start from the beginning and then we'll walk through where we get to.
Yeah, so I moved to Louisiana, the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. Shout out to Rage Occasions. I moved there in 2019, right before the COVID hit. I had ran like at a junior college and stuff before that. And so when the COVID hit, we decided to do YouTube. Like I remember the day like it was yesterday. I remember I was going to the cafeteria to get some food. I ran to Solomon and Tahj, and they were like ecstatic about something. I could like see it even before I even heard what they were saying. I could see it on their faces. And they were like, bro, we had the best idea of all time. I was like, what? It's like, we making a YouTube channel. I was like, all right, bet. So we started doing YouTube videos. We tried basketball videos, prank videos, football videos, and then we started doing reactions, and then it just hit. But as far as track, like, we just had like a super, like, we were just grinding in college. Like, we would wake up, like, good treatment and all that, go to practice, and then me and Brandon were getting our master's degrees. They were still in their undergrad, so we would go to class all day, and we would start at like 10 p.m., 11 p.m.
Yeah, every day.
Videos every single day. And like we would go to sleep like 2, 3 in the morning and then wake up and just do it again.
Repeat. Yeah.
And then, so we just kept doing that. And I still run track right now. Like I run professionally for the Ghana national team. So I just go to practice, and then come home and then record all day. So I just feel like it's just a matter of using the talents that God has blessed me with. You know, I feel like I'm good at YouTube and I'm good at track. So I'm gonna keep doing them.
Definitely. Yeah, no. Like you said, I came in late. I was actually at school in Kansas when they had started. I graduated from there. I remember I don't know. I did a lot when I was at Kansas. So my senior year, I had the extra year from COVID. Like they gave us a year back. And I remember I got accepted to grad school there. And I remember everybody was like, oh yeah, you're coming back out. I was like, no, I'm not. And I remember I text Brock. Me and him are boys from high school. We're from the same city in Oklahoma. So I texted him. I was like, yeah, I think I want to transfer for my next year. He immediately called me. He's like, you serious? I was like, yeah. He said, I'm going to go talk to my coach right now. And that's against NCAA rules. So he's like saying stuff to Brock, and Brock was relaying it to me. So he was like, yeah, he said apply and call back. So I applied literally a week later. I applied literally when we got off the phone that same day right there, paid $20, applied to University of Louisiana. Next week, I got accepted, called him again. He was like, all right, do this, and we're gone. Then summer goes on, I get accepted, end up going to Louisiana. And I just moved in, and they were doing YouTube. So, I mean, I had heard about it. Obviously, Brock was telling me about it, and I think we were at like, what, 10,000?
I don't know.
Yeah, we weren't very big.
Yeah.
15, 10,000, around that range when I started doing it. And yeah, I just kind of fell into it with the guys, and
I knew he would be
took off
good
from there.
on the channel too, like just on his personality. I knew it would work.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a lot of fun. But my situation was different when I came in because I was a grad student and I was a grad assistant as well, also on the track team. So I'm doing stuff all day. I'm waking up, going to GA, then I go to lunch, practice, treatment, class. Then I get a class. It's 9 o'clock. We 4 videos a day till midnight every day. And I was like, man, I'm really like dedicated to this. I really want to see this break off. And it got to the point, like, even my teachers would show the videos in class, like, yeah, look what Brandon's doing. I was like,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So you guys are all hardworking. I mean, running track, you guys are probably and whatever else sports. I mean, you're what do they got you doing? They got special diets. You got to work
Yeah.
every single day.
Yeah, it's just being like, I mean, this is really no like secret. It's just eat right, work hard, work out hard, and
stay
focus on
hydrated.
your technique, and
Nah,
it'll come.
I would say at the D1 level, because I came from a D2 school. When I went to UL, it was a D1 school. They give you all the tools to be successful. You got the free calf, you got the lunch, you got the trainers. They got like a training table with snacks and supplies and supplements. They give you everything you need to be successful. All you got to do is really lock in and focus.
It's on you.
It's really on you. If you can really lock in and focus, you have everything you need to be successful.
They set you
Discipline.
up for success.
Definitely, 100%.
But the reason I bring this up is because I wonder if, you guys don't sound like you come from a background where you're involved in, I guess what ghetto culture or like,
Yeah, we're around it for sure.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
around
you're
it,
around
yeah.
it, especially
Family
like-
members
but-
and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially as a black people, you're gonna be exposed to it at some point. Like, I mean, I grew up in the hood, East Side OKC, and like my house had bullet holes in the back window and stuff. But I mean, I only lived there till I was 9. Then we moved to like suburbs. It was super nice. But I mean, my parents, like, when I went out and played, they was like, you can't go across the street, you can't do this and that. So I mean, that was just normal to me. I didn't really realize it was different until we left and I saw the difference.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really like it's really just on you.
Yeah.
I could say just me going to college made me like step away from that environment because my friends, like some of them right now is doing some bad stuff right now I don't approve of. So I'd say going to college kind of pushed me away from it and see a different environment and see like a different outlook of life. So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, man, before like we even started the YouTube, I was hanging around some guys that, I mean, I really shouldn't have been hanging around with. I mean, just doing stuff they shouldn't have been doing. And I was telling them, man, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel, bro. And they're laughing at me like, bro, really? You're gonna start a YouTube channel? And I'm like, bro, I think it could really work. And going back to school, being with Tahj, I mean, man, me and him, because he's like had the camera to start the YouTube. I forgot, what was your degree?
oh yeah, I had video production.
Yeah, so that he's the whole reason like this even started, because I mean I didn't know about a camera at all. I didn't know what I was gonna do at all. I mean, it just kind of popped on my head. I was like, bro, maybe we could start a YouTube channel. And that's how it happened, really.
Like, what do you guys think is the motivation for your friends and the people in the black community to want to be involved in things that are not good? Like, I don't know what those things are, but you mentioned they're doing things that are not good.
It's the culture, man.
Just like the culture,
People want fast
yeah,
money.
people want fast money. They want
I
to be. They
think-
want to be hard. They want to be cool. They want street cred.
Yeah.
I think
It's
it's
we
not
can
a
talk
lot
2
of
hours
factors.
on it.
Yeah,
it's a lot of
The
factors.
main
that go
reason
into
is
it.
just like you are who you surround yourself with.
Facts.
So that's what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
So that's what they do.
Nah, facts. Like when I moved to a suburban area, my high school, we're on like the edge of like the suburb called Edmond and OKC. So we get a lot of kids from OKC. So a lot of them, they would try to put like the hood, and they would hang around each other. And they would try to like do dumb stuff. Like I knew a lot of guys that was super talented athletes that threw it all away because they wanted to be in the streets.
Yeah.
They want to be tough. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I went to different schools, man, so I seen like a lot of different environments. Like I went to probably the whitest school ever called the Woodlands in the Woodlands, Texas, and just seeing that environment coming from black schools, I was like, this is totally different, man. I was having difficult like times in school, and I was like, man, this stuff is actually pretty hard, And then I mean, I remember just crying to my mom like, man, this stuff's too hard. She's putting me in hard classes. She was like, this is gonna be good for you, and I didn't realize it was gonna be good for me until I went to after that I went back to the hood school, and then they were like, yeah, man, you come to class, man, you get an A. And I was like, what the heck? Like, this is pretty crazy. Kids walking up to me like, hey, bro, you want to fight, bro? I'm like, what the heck, bro? Like, no, and then I went to a school after that was kind of like, white and black people, and it was pretty cool for me. I was like, yeah, I can vibe here, and even there, I get into it with some kids that, being friends with some kids that, were a part of the subculture, basically. And they're like, yeah, bro, like, pull your pants down, bro. Why are you wearing your pants like that? Pull them down a little bit, And I'm like, damn, man, like, why do I have to do that, So then I fell into that, trying to be cool and stuff like that. And then my dad's always like, bro, because he comes from that. He's like, that never gets you anywhere.
Yeah. So
then I realized, I'm like, hey, then I'm going to college. I'm like, I have to do something outside of that. So then I realized YouTube might be that. And pretty much here we are,
worked out.
Yeah, it did.
I think our blessing was we all come from good families.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's really
that too.
what it is. Like a lot of people, in the black culture don't have like a good family unit, or they don't have good examples in their family of what to strive to be like. So I think that may be a big like factor of to why they do a lot of negative stuff, because they don't have no good examples. And the example that's put forth in the black culture that's cool is the street stuff, or like being like hood and being ghetto and all that stuff. So it's either you have a good example in your family, or you just go to what's out there
on social media.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's the two roads you
and,
got.
And that's why I think it's pretty crazy that people got upset with Byron Donald about what he said about what was it exactly he said?
He was saying about how the marriage rate was higher.
What was it called again? Jim
Crow.
Crow. So like during that time, I felt like it was more like activists and like people really you can look up to something like that. And now it's just like it's nothing to really look up to, you know?
Yeah,
So that's why I think it's different. Yeah.
Rappers glorifying that other side. And back in like those days in the 50s, you had the strong family units, and they was really struggling and fighting for their position.
They was fighting real racism.
Yeah, there was real racism, real struggle, what we had to fight for, the position we're in now. And you had moms and dads setting that example for their children, that good foundation. And now the single mother rate in black people, the black community in general, is the highest, you know? So that alone is the foundation is missing. So when you have a rocky foundation and then no good examples of what to strive to be like, you gonna either get pulled in one direction, or you might get lucky and go in another. And more often than not, they get pulled in the negative direction.
I feel like a lot of people don't have no goals, or like try to strive for something. That's also like a problem.
Just don't know what's possible.
You know what's crazy? They actually demonized Byron for that, man. That was
crazy.
Insane. Like,
I really think they took his comments out of context. Like they tried to
spin it.
They didn't focus.
Own, you know.
Yeah, they were
narrative.
No, they tried to spin it.
I think it's wild that like Larry Elder, you guys, I'm sure you've seen
Yeah, we like Larry.
Yeah.
that guy's a genius.
Yeah.
And they call him the black face of white supremacy. It's crazy because, it's racist because a black man would say something that is favored by people in this country who happen to be Republican. Byron Donalds, Thomas Sowell, Larry Elder, they call them white supremacists or, race traitors or whatever. And I'm like, isn't it kind of racist to imply that a guy who, like,
it is.
They're acting like the only reason people are supporting them. What is it? Let me put it this way. I watched Fox News the other day. They had what's the guy's name? Lawrence Jones. I'm not sure if I'm getting his name wrong. He's great though. But he went to a bunch of barbershops in the Bronx, and he was asking black men who they're voting for, why they're voting. And one guy said Kamala Harris. And he said these young black men have the slave mentality where they want to vote for Massa. And that's the people who are voting for Trump. And I'm just like, isn't it kind of, isn't it some kind of racism that if you're going to assume if somebody has an idea they like, it can only be because they're trapped in racism? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's
you're right.
Like their race is the reason why they feel this way, when it's just, the way I see it is if you're stupid, you're stupid. If you're smart, you're smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just think like, okay, so all these years, when black people really going through things like, getting out of slavery and this and that, and we fought for freedom to make your own decisions. So now that we're finally, we're here, not finally, we've been free, but now that we're here, 2024, 2025, and it's like, y'all are still like in this mindset that it's like we all have to think the same way even though we're free.
Yeah.
And it's like, I saw a quote, it was like from my pastor, it was like, if you tell someone that a door is locked, they'll never try to open it even though it's open. So they're just telling people like, you're oppressed, you're racist, this and that. And people sitting there eating it up. And then it's like, wait. And I remember I sat there and I thought, I was like, well, how many racist things have happened to me? And it was like, compared to what they was doing, like nothing. Like my life has been completely fine.
No, facts.
I remember my coach at Louisiana, because Louisiana is, a southern state, the heart of the South.
We was South Louisiana.
He was talking about how like when he was in college, we had a white coach who went to a HBCU. And so he understood like black people a lot. He was like, the teachers there would get on the students so bad when they would like come to class and be, ungrateful for the situation they had. And they're like, we fought for y'all to get here to do this. And I was thinking like, yeah, probably back then in the 40s, 50s, like people were fighting just to go to school. And now it's like everyone can go to school. You can do all these things. We have all these opportunities, but we're still sitting here crying about racism and all these things. And I think it's just from the perspective that we have.
You know what's crazy about Coach though? I remember one day he told us it was like, I think a black graduation or something that was going on. And he was all like, no, imagine if white people had that, man. And I remember, me too, I was like, hold on. That's a good point.
Like the Black Student Union. He was like, same thing about the Black Student Union. He said, Matt, there's a white student union.
Yeah, and I was like,
I was like, oh my
and
God.
that's around the time we started getting on YouTube. And I was like,
That makes
Man,
sense.
that's pretty crazy. Like,
Yeah,
if
no,
you
I
think about
never
it,
thought about that.
yeah, that's insane, man.
This, you know, for me, all like the woke stuff, one of the biggest problems I have with it is that I get it, especially coming from Chicago. That's where do you guys know what redlining is?
Yeah, that's where they like.
That's where it comes
neighborhoods
from.
and stuff. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yes, because the Red Line train,
Okay.
the real estate agents basically conspired to be like, make sure the black people can only live in this area so they're not near the white people because it'll negatively impact property values. That was in the 80s when they finally put an end to it. So I can imagine if you're like 60, you're saying like you don't understand how bad it was and the
I get
racism.
it.
Yeah,
No,
understand.
that makes sense. I do like that you highlighted that, because when you look at Black history and like the things Black people have to go through to get to the position we are today, it's like, why would you not go to college? Because Black people fought for your right to go to college. Why would you not try to buy a home? Because people couldn't buy homes. Like, it's like, why would you not fight to be successful? You know, like the stuff and opportunity we have now in America, people fought and died for that. Like my great great grandma, she was like 90 something. She was born in 1919. I remember she was telling me about like how she went to school. It was segregated. She had to fight to go to college. And like how my whole family, like on my dad's side, my whole family all went to this HBCU in Oklahoma because it's the only place they could go to school. Like, and my dad was one of the first ones to not go there. He went to OU. And like my mom, like she was adopted, like, and like all her stuff, she put herself through college and law school. So like they like really told me Black history and like told me like, why would you throw all the stuff that the people before you fought for away and not be successful? Like, and that's what people in the streets are doing. Like, you're saying, oh, all they went through that stuff, so America's doomed, so why try? And I'm gonna just go throw myself away and make nothing of myself. Like, that's almost a slap in the face to those who came before you and died for you. And that's why I say, like, a lot of people don't have an example of what to strive for or know what could be if you go fight and try to go make something of yourself. So I think that's one of the biggest disconnects we have.
You know what's crazy? The same people that will throw their life away will tell me I'm wrong for being
Facts.
MAGA.
Yeah,
No, that's
yeah,
facts.
that's crazy.
They're
So
the
it's
ones,
like,
they're the ones
What do you
that,
want?
No,
That's why I
those,
said, I don't care about pleasing people. I'm not-
nobody.
I do not care about pleasing y'all
I
at
agree.
all.
No, and that's a great example, because the ones who don't try or are too afraid to try or blame racism on the reason they won't try are the ones that are the most brainwashed and easily controlled by the media narratives and everything that's thrown out there. So like they're the ones that tell us like, oh, you guys are dumb, you guys are sellouts, you're this, you're that. And I'm like, look, bro, like if y'all really watch the videos and listen to what we say and how we got to this point, you realize this is not a lie. This is not something we just putting on for show. This is real stuff we doing, like real talk. We're really putting in the work and trying to learn this stuff and do the legwork. And I think just us being young and being like ourselves, like we haven't changed, like we're still ourselves, the same way we are on camera, off camera. I think that resonates with people who really do watch the videos and take in what we do, because they can see like we're being for real. Because a lot of people have told me like, you really opened my mind up to this.
So you guys, again, throwing it back to like doing track and stuff, takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
You know, you got to eat right. You've got to train. You got to be there. They can give you the tools, but if you don't do the work, so that shows you guys understand the value of hard work is very obvious, right?
100%. Yes, sir.
So, you know, do you guys know what night crawling is? That refers to?
Like when people go out at night and try to get like the crazy footage and
That's
stuff.
right.
I remember the movie
It's
Nightcrawler.
good.
That's why you said
That movie was great. It's
Great
creepy,
movie.
but
Yeah.
I went night crawling in Chicago with a journalist friend of mine, and there was something like, I don't know, 7 or 8 murders that had happened on the South Side, and a handful of them, it was black men killing black men and some innocent people dying.
Wow.
And what they told us is, these are young men. At the time, it was Snapchat. That was the big thing everyone was using.
Yeah.
A young black guy would go on Snapchat and then insult a guy and his girlfriend and say something like, I'm going to get your girl and I'm going to do this, that, or otherwise. So the guy would be like, okay, pull out a gun, go to the guy's house
Shoot him.
and kill him. And, you know, I thought about that, seeing you guys, you're working really, really hard to try and succeed and build something that lasts and to be happy, to be healthy. And then I like, there's a component there where I feel like a question needs to be asked. Are you better off being hard on the South Side where you're going to insult some guy's girlfriend and then die over it? Or are you going to start a business, eat right, train? And it's fascinating to me that they criticize you guys over saying, hey, maybe it's better to own a business and be hard workers and succeed and have a family. It's like what a lot of what we see from the left, I don't want to just blanket every single one of them, is it's destructive.
Oh yeah,
Oh, 100%.
And I think
100%.
what you said is 100% correct. And a lot of people, especially even, it's weird to say this, but a lot of rappers have been saying that recently. Like I heard a rapper the other day, Ryler Rodriguez, he was like, so you think I'm supposed to stack this money up and do all these things just to mess it up so you can say I'm real? Like what? So then that doesn't make sense to me, you know? And it was like, I was like, I think it boils down to trying to please people. Like we were saying, like you're either gonna try to please black people and be black and do what they want you to do, or you're gonna be white and be a square.
Yeah.
It's like if you care what people think, if you live your life based on what people think about you, no matter what, someone's gonna be upset.
Do you guys ever see that song "Read a Book"?
Who?
I don't know. It went super viral. Let me see if I can pull this up, and I'll play a little bit. This went super viral. Here we go. Let's play a little bit of it. Let's skip ahead.
Like hooks and concepts and shit, right? But fuck that, man. I'm trying to go platinum. So I'm about to rock this shit. Check this out, y'all. Read a book, read a motherfucking book.
Hold on, is this part of the what's that show?
Lucha Lucha.
Nah, I think this is the Freaknik show.
Read a motherfucking
You guys should react to this one.
So we can manipulate the data many different ways, and the stats still say the same thing. It was actually my mom. I was arguing. My mom's a lawyer. She thinks she knows everything sometimes. She's intelligent. Love you, Mom. But sometimes we were arguing. I remember she was like, oh, no, that's not true. I said, all right, let's take it a step deeper. What's the data of this? I think I was talking about like the black single family homes has got up to like almost 70%. And she was like, no, that's just because they're having babies out of wedlock. I said, all right, let's take it to where a step further to black kids with no dad at all. It was like 58%. So it went from 70 to 58. And I remember she was like, well, I still don't agree with that. I was like, well, this is from fatherhood.org. I was like, how deep does it get, Mom? I was like, at what point do you like recognize that this is a problem? And like, she was like, we'll just have to agree to disagree. I was like, all right, whatever.
I don't know that I feel like that's a problem because growing up, I seen a lot of, I'm in a single mother home, so I seen a lot of my friends growing up in a single mother home. So that's why I be like, I cannot say that's wrong when I argue with people.
But you want to know something? I'll take it a step further. This is a theory I've come up with, me personally. So I think the reason why the Democrat Party has such a grip on black people is the fact that obviously I think Democrat rhetoric plays on women's fears. It plays on fear, right? Women are emotionally thinking. So when they're pushing rhetoric from every mainstream media outlet where people watch news and think they're getting informed, the regular average person thinks they're getting informed, and it's playing on their fear, and they play on this fear of white supremacy and white people this and that, white people are against you, da-da-da-da. And women eat that up, predominantly black women who are the highest supporters of the Democrat Party. They're going to repeat that to their children, and if there's no father in the home, because there's so much single motherhood, like, it's just gonna come down through the children from the mom.
It's gonna be a cycle.
Yeah, and then you've got, and then even if you look a step further than that, you have all these black women who are in the Democrat Party that hold positions of government who also repeat the same things, like Jasmine Crockett, Abby Phillip on CNN, Letitia James. Like we could name a whole bunch. Like we could keep going. So I just think it comes from the women, from black women, right? And they push it on their children, they spread the rhetoric, and they all accept it so much. That's why they're the strongest supporters of the Democrat Party. And men, black men who like black women, oh, we have to listen to the women because they love black women. That's how it goes, to me. That's why I think it gets that deep, to me. And I think that's, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I think that's another reason why, like, black men who are Republican have white wives, because if all the black women are Democrat and you're a Republican, and then they have all these things, these labels and things they throw on black Republicans. You're a sellout, you're a coon, you're this, you're that. They demonize you. Why would a woman want to be with you if that's what you're seen as among these people? Like to a white woman or a woman who's outside of that and doesn't think that way, she would never view you like that. She doesn't care. Oh, she doesn't care. She would never view you like that. She doesn't care. So, I mean, that's why that is. That to me, that's like a theory I've come up with.
And for a lot of these black women, I don't blame them. I mean, you're being told that your entire community is going to turn against you if you go this direction, if you feel this way. So I bet there's a lot of black women who are just like,
Look at Candace Owens.
oh man,
Yeah, they turn.
They destroy her. Like I remember, like they're like, oh yeah, we still hate Candace, but like you see her new series where she's exposing Kamala.
oh yeah.
They're like, oh, we still hate Candace, but she's spitting, she cooking here. I'm like, we've met Candace. She's cool as hell.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is the problem here?
It's just, going back to what I was saying earlier in the show about like Larry Elder. It's if a black person has an idea that conservatives or white people agree with, they say that they're grifting, they're pandering, they're playing into white supremacy. And it's like, I don't know, like if there's some overweight 55-year-old white dude who makes $40,000 a year and he's a huge fan of Thomas Sowell, I don't think that demeans Thomas Sowell. I don't think that means Thomas Sowell is like Candace Owens. They call her a white supremacist and far right. I'm like, she's like a multimillionaire with 10 million plus fans. I'm pretty sure on the hierarchy of like how the world works, Oprah even, it doesn't even need to be Candace Owens. They're not oppressed.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? Like, so that's why it's fascinating. They say Larry Elder's the blackface of white supremacy. And I'm like, dude, that working class white dude who barely is making ends meet, who loves listening to Larry Elder, is not racist.
Facts.
He's looking up to this guy, but they don't want that. They don't want that to be.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
No,
Nobody
that's
in
real.
America is oppressed. Period.
Yeah, I feel like America is the best place in the world, especially for a black man.
Especially like I was having this argument with someone. I was like, where in the world can you go and have a better life with more opportunity as a black person than America? Where? Name one place.
Yeah.
Did you see? You guys know Terrence K. Williams?
Yeah, we do.
That's the homie.
Yeah, we had him on the show recently, and he said that his first video that went real big was he was on his lunch break, so he's eating fried chicken, and then he said, "How many black people want to go back to Africa?" He's like, "'Cause I don't." He's like, "I like it here," and then they claimed that because he was eating fried chicken, he was doing a racist thing where he was attacking black people or whatever, and I'm like,
That's crazy.
yeah.
You ain't gonna get no good
People
fried
don't
chicken
really-
in Africa though.
Oh yeah, I was in Cameroon for the African Championships like a month ago, and that was my first time like leaving America, and so I've always known like people like cause my dad is a immigrant. He moved here from Ghana. His parents moved here from Ghana, so I grew up like I didn't really grow up like being taught that white people were against me, that I have no chance, like because I wasn't really raised. Like my parents are from Africa, from Ghana. So when I went to Cameroon, that was the most life-changing experience I've ever had because right before we went to Cameroon, we were at the Turning Point event in Detroit. So I met Trump, I met all these people, and it's like, wow, I'm experiencing like the American dream. And then I go to Cameroon, and I'm seeing like real poverty, like no electricity, no house. Like these people are really struggling. And like I remember I ran up on a family, they still have AirPods in, and they're like jumping up and down, freaking out because they've never seen AirPods. And I'm like, wow, like, that trip changed my life. I had so much survivor's guilt. Like on just the whole way home, I just felt like a horrible feeling stick to my stomach. I'm like, I have so much in America.
But
I'm about to go back to America and have everything.
Your parents are from Africa and they emigrated here.
Yeah, so my dad moved here when he was only 5 years old. So it was my grandpa, like he one by one. Like I think, so my dad has 4 sisters and he moved them all one at a time. And so my grandpa was working at Pizza Hut in the horse stables in Oklahoma. And he was working 2 jobs and he was getting his PhD to be a professor at the college that Brandon's people also went to.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so he was when he became a professor there, he started moving them one at a time. So like my dad, like from like ages like, I think when he was born to like 5 or 6 years old, didn't see his parents because they were in America trying to, make ends meet. And they just one at a time brought him here. And everybody, all my dad's sisters and all their family, they're doctors, they're successful, all of them. And just because it shows me how much perspective and what you're taught can affect you, right? And you see a lot of Nigerians, you see a lot of like Iranian, you see a lot of people from other Vietnamese, they come here and they're successful because they're like, I'm not about to just sit here and let y'all like, where I came from, it's real struggle and real poverty. So here where I have a chance in America, I'm not gonna care what y'all say, I'm gonna go get that money.
I think it was, maybe it was Charlie Kirk. It might have been Vivek. I think it was Charlie Kirk. He said, America is the one country where the people that hate it refuse to leave.
Facts.
Literally.
I saw that. He was arguing with that dude with the mask on.
Yeah.
He was like, can you prove it? I was like, what the hell you mean?
That
He was
doesn't-
like, all right,
doesn't
will
make
you leave?
sense.
No. Well, he
But
just proved it.
This is the crazy thing too, because you've got this idea, and it's like it's woke people from all different backgrounds saying that America's racist, America's horrible, and I'm like, yo, like your family fought to come here and work. Your grandpa worked really, really hard to be here. That's
That's a spit in the face to them. Like you did all this to get me here, and now I'm a complainer.
Now you're a victim of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what's
What?
crazy?
That's why I could never, me personally, I'm not doing that. I don't care. I'm not finna just sit here and just say that I'm oppressed when I don't feel oppressed. I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah, no, Facts.
I didn't think that was extreme like left at first until maybe like a couple of days ago when I said, you know, that's almost delusional. That's on the level of LGBTQ activists. That's on the level of climate activists, because that is far left, because that is a delusion that you are oppressed.
If this is the case, why do African people always come here and be successful?
So
that is a literal, real thing.
So
Like,
that-
everyone- you can look up these stats.
Yeah, that is far left now. To me, that is extremely far left.
Think
That's as
about
far as
all
left
the
as it
immigrants
is.
is trying their hardest to cross
Yeah.
the border to
Right
get
now.
here.
Right now.
And like,
to an oppressed
be
country.
oppressed.
Yeah, so that's why I think
Doesn't make any sense.
At all. No logic at all.
So that's why I think that we have a different perspective, and that's why we're like this, because we all grew up and like we seen different things. Like
Yeah.
Facts.
he
I'm
came,
military.
he's a military kid, so he's been around black and white people. My dad put me in different positions to see black and white people. They've seen black and white people like in different situations. So that's what it is with the black community, is that they just don't see the different situations and
Exactly.
they think they're oppressed. Because if you look at different countries and different situations, you're gonna be like, wow, I have a yellow school bus to go to school, man.
Yeah.
They're running and walking miles on bare feet to go to school.
No.
You got water at
I really
school.
feel like Oklahoma. I mean, I really feel like
Yeah.
America is really the land of opportunity. Like it literally is. It is what you make it. Like I think people think like if you go work, you're just gonna automatically be successful. I think that's a myth that we've been sold. I also think that a lot of people think that if they don't go to college, like there's no other way. I think that's also a myth that's been sold. Like there's so many ways to
Like,
find
yeah.
success in America. Literally a million ways to find success in America. Like people are making millions of dollars selling trading cards. Like
You know, Patrick McDavid said, I was listening to him yesterday. He said they can predict who will be the next most millionaires in our generation. It'll be plumbers.
really?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that
Oh,
makes
yeah.
a lot of sense because everybody don't want to do that job.
Plumbers will be the next millionaires. Yes.
There was a cartoon, I think someone made on like a meme. I can't remember what it was, but I think South Park did this. This is a South Park joke. The plumber is driving. All the plumbers are driving around in like Ferraris
Wow.
because nobody wanted to do the job,
Exactly.
and everyone's going to college. So then the plumbers start becoming in high demand, and they're all the handymen.
Yes.
And it's like, you know, I'm overbooked. I got to hire more employees. We need more. Everybody's desperate. Stan's dad can't fix the oven, so he's got to hire somebody, and they're all rich now.
That's insane.
It's opportunity, you know what I mean? Like the economy shifts.
Yeah. And that's the thing though, our community doesn't like see these jobs as a way to make money.
See,
Yeah.
that's what it is too, especially with the younger people. I feel like younger black people is like with social media and stuff, you know, everybody want to do YouTube or rap or whatever, athlete. And it's like, you can't do these things. It's like, especially the women, like on both sides, not just black or white, like women in general, young women are going to be like, well, I want somebody with some motion, you know? So he's a plumber. And
You
he's
don't want
a,
no man with a 9 to
but
5.
he make 200K and he makes 60, you know? It's just, I think that's a generational kind of issue, not just a racist.
I definitely think it's people want the image too.
Yeah.
I don't want to be with no plumber.
So there's a story I like to tell from back where I come from on the south side, and there was so this is like a generally mixed race area for the most part, but we had a dividing line. 47th Street, if you cross north of 47th, all black. South of it, predominantly white, some Hispanic, very few Asian, but that dividing line was real, and there was animosity based on these two different communities. But I remember, there were a couple kids in my neighborhood that were selling pot, and then there was this black dude, and he was like, "Why are you selling pot?" And they were like, "Well, I got to make money." And he was like, "I'm not going to go work at McDonald's." He's like, "I make way more selling pot." And this guy, I always remember this because it was such a great story. He was like, "That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. You want to make money? I'll tell you to make money." And here's what I do. He's like, I look up the venues in Chicago where bands are playing. And then I see this list. They got 4 bands on Friday night, 4 bands on Saturday night, 4 bands Thursday or whatever. These bands that are opening are like 18-year-olds. So I reach out to them on social media or whatever. This is back before social media, I think. But it's like, I'll hit them up and I say, "Hey, do you guys have merch?" And they go, "No." And he's like, "All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell T-shirts for your band, and I'm going to give you 20%. And then the bands are like, "Yes," because we don't have merch. And then he was like, "I work 2 days a week. I make two $2,000 a week." Yeah. Because I go to the store, I print up a couple hundred shirts, they bring all their friends and family to come see their show. Everybody wants to buy the shirts. They get money they wouldn't have got before. I get paid. You don't got to sell pot to do that. He's like, "It's just lazy. Someone told you to make money and now you're going to go to jail. What's the point?" He's like, just sell. You could tell. He's like, you could sell socks on the highway and make more money than this.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, though. People want the easy way out because selling pot is always going to be an option in the black community. That's one of the first things that come to
Not just
you.
the black community though.
Well, yeah, not just about it. It's going to come to you. That's going to be the first. That's one of my
Everyone
first
has that
opportunities
option.
of money.
Yeah.
But you just know it's repercussions with that.
It's repercussions.
You might die. You
I
might
get
go to
robbed.
jail.
I had to kill somebody behind that.
But this is the problem
I know
with this.
somebody that died behind that. I didn't
Damn.
say that. Yeah.
I know
High
multiple
Yeah.
people.
I literally shot in the
Somebody
head.
dying right now behind that.
No, literally,
Somewhere.
Kid from my high school got shot in the head over an ounce. In high school. I was like, wow, that's insane.
I witnessed somebody die in high school over 3 pills.
Wow.
Just
Yeah.
try to rob them over 3 pills.
No.
How could you see that and say this is a good idea?
You know what happens if like. So I imagine some of this is like you're selling on someone else's territory, or you owe a debt you didn't pay back and you disrespected them or something. If you go to like a t-shirt print shop and you say, let me get an order of 100 shirts, they're going to be like, your bill's going to be $500. You say, okay, give me the invoice. I'll pay you by the end of the week. If you don't pay them, the guy who owns that shop's not going to put a bullet in you.
Yeah.
He's going to come wagging his finger and he's going to hand you a legal demand. And then 3 months later, you're in court. Like that's normal business.
Yeah. Well, just what's handling in court, buddy? You don't need to use the guns.
You in court.
But here's the thing about, I mean, pot's becoming largely legal in a lot of places, but the people who, a guy goes to someone and says, here, I'm going to be your supplier. You go sell on the street or whatever. If that dude doesn't pay him back, he has no court. There's no recourse. So this is why you end up with violence. Because he's like, the only thing you have to do is you fight. Whereas normal business, that's, regular market, not black market, you send them a summons to a small claims court, and it's just like, okay, the $200 has to be paid back. Or you go on TV. Could you imagine?
Judy.
You go on Judge Joe Brown or Judge Judy, and then it's like, okay, you owe him $200, and then the show pays the bill. But that's the funny thing about that story to me is like, if people in the community just heard that lesson, why sell pot? It's because someone offered it to him. It's because someone said, hey, you're gonna make a lot of money doing this. If someone, could you imagine if a guy showed up to a park and he's like, hey, you wanna make some money? What do you gotta do? I'm gonna give you these t-shirts. You go to the Metro and sell them. We're gonna make $1,000. They would do it. But the opportunity isn't there.
Oh no, terrible about that one.
But some
That's the way he set it up.
people,
That's why he set it up.
depends.
I think some people.
I'm saying like, if someone goes to a young person and says, how would you like to work one day a week and make $1,000?
Right.
They're
Okay.
They're
Yeah.
gonna say yes. But what happens is the people who run these businesses aren't going to young people and making these offers in the city. At least where I come from, that never happened.
Oh, yeah.
It's like if you want a job, you got to work at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do that because they consider it demeaning. You're not cool.
Yeah.
Some people do it and they're like, I got a real job. It's fine. It's like, okay, congratulations. After taxes, you're going to take home $80.
Yeah.
And the kid who gets the dealer who comes to him and says, hey, sell these to your friends and to the people you know, he's making several $100 a week. And he doesn't have the same kind of boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's when the parents come in.
I know, yeah. You need good parents. I mean, if your parents were there and said, hey, we're going to make way more money selling socks on the highway or something.
And then that's where Lyndon B. Johnson come in.
He always bring
So,
up Lindy
I know,
B.
bro, because it's crazy, bro. He took the black. I mean, I'm not gonna say he did it, but
It was a big moment.
Well, if you take a look like the famous pictures from Selma, the Civil Rights March, it's all these black people that are wearing suits.
Yeah.
And that was the intent. It was like, look, man, like we're middle class people. We're regular working people. We don't want to be discriminated against. And then now today,
Oh man, today is terrible.
The-
White tees, sagging pants.
Spider, Hail Star.
It ain't even that.
like, man, I got to shout out the movie A Bronx Tale. Have you guys seen that one?
I've seen it, but I haven't seen it.
Bronx.
Like it's like passively like
Yes,
watching
I
the
know
thing.
exactly what you're talking about. Though.
It's good because it deals with like growing up, like Italian immigrants growing up with like organized crime, but also the black community and the animosity and stuff. But there's like a scene where the mob boss guy Sonny is mentioning like black entertainer because he's like screw the racist man because the main character he's into this black girl, but that's not allowed in the 60s. It was like he's like doesn't matter what anybody tells you, you love what you love, and he's like this tough mob boss. So
Is that the one with Forrest Whitaker?
No.
Okay.
This is from the 80s or like early 90s.
Okay, my bad.
So, but it's awesome. But he basically makes a point about, like black entertainers in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And these are suit-wearing guys. These are like well off. And the culture that they're showing off is, I don't know, I guess call it more noble. Classy. And it was like, I'm going to wear a suit and I'm a tie and I'm going to look good. And these were massively famous musicians despite Jim Crow and the racism that was prevalent.
Yeah.
Today, you got Lil Nas X giving a BJ to the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And don't get me
crazy.
wrong, like you've got white people doing it as well. I think it's a total cultural thing across the board. But what happened?
You know what's crazy? I feel like
I
in
blame the
music-
record labels.
No, I was about to say, I feel like in music, a lot of these like music videos lately, that demonic stuff is so normalized. Like,
Yeah.
I could tell you like 5-6 videos off the top of my head where like new ones where they just showing demons and demonic stuff. Like it's just normal. That's weird to me. A lot of stuff is being normalized, actually. I almost think like being gay is normalized, especially in TV and movies. Like I feel like every new show or movie has something gay in it. Almost always.
In my opinion, I feel like everybody be having an attack on Christianity.
yeah.
And the other races,
sure.
not the other races, the other religions, you can't say
for
nothing about
sure.
them. It's just so crazy to
For
me.
sure.
Right now.
Are you guys-
I never really noticed it to me, because to me it was just like I would just watch it, you know. But I remember there was a show called The Boys, and Brock pointed out to me, he's like, "Yeah, bro, I didn't really like how they made fun of Christianity," and I was like, "You think they made fun of it?" And there's like a part where they like really actually literally discredit Christianity. But to me, I was just watching the show. I enjoyed the show.
Right.
I wouldn't even pay attention to that. But when he pointed out to me, I was like, damn, like I rewatched the show like twice since then. So like now I'm like, damn, like he's not kidding. Like they're actually discrediting Christianity. And like it's got to the point where that show's went off the rails to the point where they even referenced January 6th in it.
I know, yeah. Dude, the boys
That show is
started
so woke.
It's
I know.
so bad.
But it
now.
started off good.
It started
Exactly,
off great.
it did.
It was great.
Yeah, the boys originally was like superheroes in real life.
Yeah.
They got PR agencies, they're kind of dicks. A lot of this is for show. But in the beginning, it's really funny because I think in season 1, Homelander actually is trying to save people.
Yeah.
There's like a scene where there's a train crash or something, and it's like, okay, guys, we got to save these people. And then they decided, let's just make Homelander Trump, and he's a lunatic who
That's exactly
drinks
what they
breast
did.
milk, and like, it just makes no sense anymore.
The shock value is forced. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous now. They really lost me. I really liked the show. It's like
know.
I told you, I watched it 3 times. Like I really liked it, but the new season with me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is almost unbearable. Like it's almost like the way they had like the 2 factions, the Homelander faction versus the Starlighters.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that is the most obvious ploy at Trump supporters versus Kamala supporters
Yep.
I've ever seen. It's literally blatant.
Yeah, dude, it just got cringe. It's sad.
Oh, it's
did.
bad.
That was good. But I think it's an obvious question. Are you guys Christians?
Yes.
Of course.
Have you always been?
Yes, sir. Of course.
So that's a big thing about politics is they always like to prop up the black church in media when it comes to politics. Like they say, oh, the black church has so much power. Is that true?
Yeah, 100%. Actually, you want to know what's
Like
crazy?
as
This-
far as influence on what you
Yeah,
decide.
influence.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? This guy at the mall stopped me. He was an older guy. I remember I was at the mall one day. I work at a mall, like part-time. But this guy, he was staring at me. He's a black guy. I was like, you want something? Like, he came up to me. I watch your videos all the time. And we were like talking. He's like, he loves the videos, loves what we do. And he said, there's a book I need to read. And it was called like The Black Preacher, The Black Politician, and the Black, it's 3. It's like the 3 pillars or something. It was the Black Preacher, the Black Politician.
I know what you're talking about.
And like the Black like celebrity or something.
Yeah, something like
and it's talk about how all 3 of these things are used to like influence black people. So like now that you mentioned the black church, like the influence on the black church is great, especially with the older generations.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, the influence is insane.
Growing up at my grandma's church,
Yeah,
man.
Sunday church is a real
Like,
big
yeah.
deal.
Is all Democrat?
Yeah, because I remember like growing up, we used to have like the food for thought, and like thinking about it now, a lot of the talking points was more leaning left than leaning right. Right?
It's kind of wild to me that the church has become this. And I don't mean the black church. You know, there's a church not too far from here, and it says like everyone is welcome, and it's got the Progress Pride flag, which goes well beyond like LGBTQ. It's got like the purple ring in it and everything. And then you've got like these churches have gone woke to the point where it's like doesn't even look like Christianity anymore.
Yeah, see, I think the thing with that is like, okay, as Christians, you know, we're called to love people and this and that, but at the same time, I feel like you can love someone and show respect to them without agreeing. You better,
Facts.
I don't agree with this.
Facts.
You know I don't, but I'm not gonna demonize you for it. I'm gonna invite you to church. Yes, you can come to church, this and that, but at the same time, you know, like I don't agree with this, and I don't, and that's what it is. So that's what I think about that.
I think that's big. Sorry.
I was going to say, I feel like, you know, with the trans and the LGBTQ community, I feel like as a Christian, that shows confusion, and I feel like God is not confusion. So when you keep seeing that, it's just crazy to me.
No, again, like Brock said, I don't have to agree with everything people do, But the fact that we don't agree, we don't have to be enemies. Like, to me, I'm not gay. I'm straight. So obviously I don't agree with being gay. But if you want to be gay, that's your decision. Whatever people choose to do with their life, as long as it doesn't affect me and we have respect for each other when we in our face, that's cool with me. Like, again, like, I just feel like a lot of people make it seem like if we don't agree, we have to be enemies and we're like some sort of bad person. Like, to me, it's like, look, I don't have to agree with what you say. You don't have to agree with what I say. And we don't have to be enemies. We could just not agree. It's really not that deep.
And it's the crazy thing. Like Seamus Coughlin, who does Freedom Tunes back in town, and he comes on Tim Kessler all the time, and he's a devout Catholic. There's a lot of things we don't agree on, but we're laughing and hanging out every day. We make jokes, and like he's a really good friend of ours. We don't agree, but then there's wokeness, and if you even say if you question any of the orthodoxy at all, they will attack you. Mm-hmm. They will demonize you. They will say you're racist. Get out. You can't be involved, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a big problem. I think that we watched a video, we reacted to it a while back. It was like with these kids, right? And they were like kids of both sides, Trump supporters and Kamala supporters.
You talking about on CNN?
Yeah, and it was like the kids who were, like Trump supporters, their parents were, it was like, they would ask them, would your parents let you go to a Kamala supporter's house? And they're like, yeah, like they would. And then they asked the Kamala kids, would your parents let you go to a Trump supporter's house? They're like, oh, no, never. Crazy. And I was like, but then the people on the left call the people on the right divisive. It's like, y'all call us divisive, but then it's like, Shane Gillis said this too, it's like, if you can't make an endorsement, we know who you voting for.
Right.
I was like, so that's divisive. I can't even say who I'm voting for. Or else I'll go, oh my gosh, he's voting for Trump, he's a da-da-da-da-da. But y'all say we're divisive. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
No, I think that's big. I think it's also very ironic that the left calls the right divisive, and the left has all these labels.
Cancel
they come up with
culture.
all the labels.
They invented it.
The cancel culture, they come up with the labels that shut people up, all these isms. It's and phobics, and it's all from the left, and it's all used to discredit and divide people.
They've been, like you guys mentioned, the black graduation ceremony. Mm-hmm. That was like a big deal, I think, a few years ago. I don't know if it was Harvard or somebody was doing an all-black graduation.
Yeah,
and it's like
UT did one.
USC did one.
USC did one.
That seems crazy to me.
It is
Me
crazy.
too.
To me, I wouldn't go. Me personally.
I'm mixed, so do I go or not?
So like,
I go for half of it and I leave. It doesn't make sense.
it's crazy because that's like Jim Crow.
That's exactly this is what we did.
fought against.
Wait, I thought we wanted all integrated in the schools, right? That's what we wanted. Oh wait,
But
now we don't want that no more. What?
Is it like, okay, you guys probably have a ton of friends of different racial backgrounds.
100%.
For sure.
Isn't it kind of wild to be like, hey, I'm having my graduation, you can come watch, but we're not going to have like, we're both graduating right now, but I'm going to go over here with a racial group of people, not my friends.
Doesn't make any sense.
That's absurd. It's also crazy to me. It's like you in class with all these people, and you make friends in class, and y'all grinding, struggling together. And when y'all finally made it, you don't want to graduate with them. Y'all don't want to enjoy that moment together. Like when I was in grad school in Louisiana, when I was a GA, so I'm the only black GA. So all the other GAs are something else. At least in the business school for the first year I was there. Well, the 2 years I was there. So like I wouldn't have wanted to graduate without them. Like we was in class together, struggling. We doing all this stuff. I'm like, I want to graduate with y'all. Y'all my people. Like
But this is like the new segregation.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy.
They're just claiming that black people want the segregation now.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised if you feel that way. Why you just don't go to a HBCU?
Facts. Facts.
Like that's
No, I just don't understand that. Like, how does that make sense in your head? Like,
Dude, it sounds like a nightmare to me. There was like a story out of California where this university created racialized dorms.
oh wow.
Yeah, where it's like the black people are in this dorm, the Asian people are in this dorm, the white people are in this dorm, and I'm like, that's the weirdest thing.
That's insane to me.
I don't want to do that.
Hell no.
I don't care what my
moving
friends.
backwards.
exactly. They said y'all so divisive, and then you're gonna put everybody in their own race. And
Isn't that the kind of wild thing though? Because like it does seem a bit cliche, but it's the Democratic Party that was the party of the Confederacy.
Yes.
They wanted to defend slavery. And I know a lot of people are immediately going to be like, that's not what the Civil War was about. I'm not saying that, but they did have in their Constitution, they wanted to enshrine slavery. Mm-hmm. That was the principal factor that was causing division in the United States. And then it's like, every step of the way up until the Civil Rights Movement, the Democrats are on the side of some form of segregation. The Klan members, a lot of people say like the Klan was the Democratic Party. Well, the Klan members were Democrats, say whatever you want. So the conspiracy theory is, and I don't know if you guys would agree with this, you probably would, the Democrats realized the negative approach doesn't work. That if we spend all of our time and energy saying we want these things because, like the Democrats were saying, oh, white people should have their own spaces or something. At some point, they were like, wait.
Let's trick them.
Let's flip it around and act like
We're on our
from
team.
the black people are the ones who want segregation. And now we're in this period where it is for the benefit of ending racism. They're doing what they call like DEI ceremonies and non-DEI ceremonies.
It's crazy.
It's still the Democrats still advocating for the exact same things they've always advocated for while claiming they're not the racist ones.
Yeah,
It's
it's
insane.
a lot of that is. I
That's
agree with
what
everything you said. Another thing is like, remember when in the football in the NFL they had "in racism" on the helmets, "in racism" on the fields.
Stop hate.
Like, brother. What? Even if okay, so say that America was racist and this is whatever, 18 whatever. Do you think someone's gonna see that and be like, oh, okay. Since they told me to, you know,
got me.
I guess I'll just do it now. Like y'all are, that is a PR move. Like I don't see how people don't see through that either.
But I wonder if a lot of it, like I was saying in the beginning about redlining, that our parents and our grandparents in this country did actually see all the racism.
Right.
And like blockbusting is crazy, and it still happens. I wonder if, so in their mindset, their whole life, they've been seeing these things. Now we're younger, and the younger generation is just kind of over it to a certain degree, but it's being kept on life support. I can't remember whose quote that was. It might have been Larry Elder or Thomas Sowell, that racism is being kept on life support by the race hustlers and the grifters and Democrats. But I think the reason it's able to is because these politicians go to older generation and says, remember all the racism? It's still here. We need these policies, and they agree with it.
Right.
And the younger people are like, why can't I graduate with my friend? I don't understand. It's like, well, he's black. He's going to the black graduation. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
I just want to hang out with my friends, man. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, bro, nowadays, bro.
No, it's absolutely crazy out here. I don't really understand it. Like, to me, like I saw there's this thing at Arizona State. They had like a racial like floor on the library. Like
I
a
actually was
racial
going to tell him
space.
to pull that up. I was actually thinking about that.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen that.
What is it?
So they have like this thing at Arizona State. It's like a floor for like.
It's a
like
video. It's a
yeah.
video, and these black girls basically go press these two white guys.
Oh, right,
yeah,
right.
it was super
Like
viral.
yelling at
Yep.
them.
Yeah,
They're
that
just
was.
sitting there like, why are you yelling at us?
Yeah,
What
we're
about-
Like,
just chilling.
Like we want to use
know
this space
why.
like you. No, this is our space to get away from people like you. Like,
Damn.
what the hell were they doing?
Like, imagine if this was reversed. That's what I always do. When I see a situation, okay, reverse the roles.
Yeah.
It's white people in there saying, oh, we trying to get away from y'all.
That's
Y'all can't
why-
come in here.
that's-
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Everybody burn this whole place down. That's what they would do.
That's why they created that thing.
Let's go loot Academy.
They created the racism can only be from a position of privilege.
Yeah.
That is absurd.
I don't agree
to
with
me.
that. I don't
That's
agree with
absurd
that,
to me.
honestly.
Racism is literally prejudice. I remember.
They say, do you hate these group of people? You're racist.
No,
Boom.
facts.
You don't have to have
It's
power over
crazy
them.
because I've heard black people say, like, to justify like their racism against others. Oh, black people can't be racist; they can be prejudiced. But if you look up the textbook definition of racism, it's prejudice against another race.
They changed the word to try and make an argument because there's no argument.
Exactly.
It bums me out because I really did feel like when I was younger, I had friends of all different backgrounds, and I was like, yo, isn't this cool? Like, there's no racism. We're friends. And the funny thing is, one kid called everybody by their racial slur. Yeah, he called me and my brother Gook.
Oh wow.
We're part Korean, and we thought it was funny. It was just funny. He
I didn't even heard of that. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
oh, that's the Korean one.
Okay.
Wow.
I
Yeah,
never
yeah,
heard
Heard
that
of this is my
before.
first time.
Yeah.
But we were all friends, and he was like Eric Cartman, and so we're hanging out, we're skating, we're going to the shop, and he would be and he'd make a crude joke, and we'd all laugh. We loved George Carlin. George Carlin has that famous bit where he goes on stage and says every racial slur imaginable.
Really?
Yeah, and then he calls Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor the N-word. And he makes the point that, it's not, I don't mean it, that it's meant to be a joke. His point was, don't let words bother you. It's the person and their intention. And he was like, and then he literally just says every racial slur. And he was a liberal guy. And everyone loved him. So my friends, we grew up, we were all relatively liberal, and my friend was like, I want to be like George Carlin. I'm going to do these edgy jokes and be offensive. But it was almost just like, we understood that he was our friend, and he was, poking at us by doing these things. We didn't care about it.
Yeah.
Now it's like, I can't imagine what it's like to be a young kid these days. You go online and you say the wrong word, you reference a word. Now it's funny, like the word unalived. Because if you go on YouTube or Instagram and you say killed, they derank you or shadow ban you.
Yeah.
So Gen Z starts saying unalived instead, and a whole bunch of other terms.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to avoid censorship.
Oh, yeah.
That's a weird world.
I noticed
It's
that.
weird. And even with the, it's a different kind of topic, but the pedophiles and stuff, they say you got to say minor attracted person.
Oh, that's them. That's them defending.
Let's not offend the pedophile. What?
Yeah.
What? They did a lot more than offend people.
He was trying to legalize that.
Bruh.
That's what's crazy to me still to this day,
That's
bro.
outrageous to me.
It's crazy the things you discover when you start paying attention in it.
No,
Yeah, it's insane.
literally.
Yeah.
Like I feel like my eyes have been open. Like I was telling Solomon in this on the plane. What's that thing at the airport? Whatever. The thing that takes you from the terminal to
Talking about the little
baggage
bus
plane,
thing?
The bus. Yeah.
That was insane. I've never seen that.
It's cool. I didn't even know what to call it. Like it was like
The little bus
Army
that
truck bus.
that takes you, I guess, to the baggage claim.
from the terminal.
Like
You know how like it's like the big old tank thing.
It looks like the Avatar.
yeah, like we on Avatar.
big wheels. He knows what we talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, we was talking to him. I was like, man, ever since we started paying attention to politics, when I watch a new show or a movie, I can realize how political everything is.
Yeah.
Like it's like insane, like how my eyes have been opened.
This one really bums me out because I think conservatives, people on the right, never did enough to defend what was good, but they did a whole lot to complain about what was bad.
Oh, for sure.
So the easiest reference is Marvel, because Marvel in the 2010s, every movie was $1 billion. And that's like unheard of. I just watched the iRobot the other day. That movie's really good. By the way.
Yeah. With Will Smith.
Yeah,
Classic.
He's so good in that movie. And it was a $100 million budget, made $300 million, and that was a smash hit. Now they do like a $100 million Marvel, it makes $1 billion, $2 billion.
Yeah.
But the first Captain America movie, it's like a conservative dream. It's about a guy who's trying to lie his way into the army to serve his country.
Yeah.
And we didn't get a bunch of videos of conservatives being like, this is the best movie, this is the message we want for our kids. The second Captain America is where he realizes that the government is corrupt and been infiltrated by evil people who are going to weaponize the power of government, and he goes against them. Another really important message in what it means to be an American. It's the revolution of this country, the founding documents, standing up for the people and things like that. Conservatives didn't come out and be like, what a great message. And the communists were bad. Basically, like Winter Soldier was a remnant of the communists.
Right.
Yeah.
The Red Man.
But then what ends up happening is the woke activists get into Marvel, and you can see it happen right after Infinity War. From Infinity War, after that, they made Captain Marvel. I think Captain Marvel came after that.
How they did Thor. They made Thor weak.
They made Thor weak and fat.
They had the
Yeah.
rainbows and
Yep.
Love and Thunder.
Oh, that
I
was-
was so
yeah.
pissed off about that. I loved Thor. And I saw the last one. I said,
I couldn't
like-
believe that.
No, when it made
This flipping of what happened in this decade-long, multi-billion-dollar franchise, and then seemingly within a span of like a year, you can see when the woke leftist activists came in, Thor got fat. They made the Thor where Jane becomes Thor, and everyone's like, "What is Captain Marvel?" Like, let me just say this because I love ragging on it. Captain America. It's like 2010 or whatever. And they made this movie. He's a scrawny guy who tries lying his way to join the army because he wants to serve his country desperately. He jumps on the grenade. He's a hero. He's granted powers. And I'm like, hey, man, that's like a very pro-America message. Like, serve your country, right? Captain Marvel's story was she accidentally becomes super powerful with like godlike powers. And then a man, Jude Law, puts an inhibitor on her that suppresses her powers. And then he keeps telling her, control your emotions.
Yeah.
The end of the movie
that's crazy.
for Captain America is he sacrifices himself to defeat Hydra, the Nazis, and he gets frozen and he loses the love of his life. The end of Captain Marvel is she overcomes the man who is holding her back, embraces her emotions, breaks the inhibitor chip, and defeats him. There's no big, grandiose finale. It's not like she saves the universe. She literally just beats her commanding officer, who's a man, telling her to suppress her emotions. And I'm like, it made $1 billion because people liked Marvel, but after that, everything started tanking. So, like, at the time when this was going on, I was trying to be like, no, like, I like this. Like, I like Marvel. And then after a few movies, I was like, I don't want to watch one of these again.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I loved Marvel until like
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
we
Disney
said. I
went
didn't
too
realize
woke.
you broke it down perfectly of like
Love.
when it happened. Cause I didn't in my brain I couldn't realize when it happened because I grew up watching them. You know, I remember going to the theaters and like now I'm grown. I'm like, damn, they so woke. When? But I wasn't political, so I didn't know.
No, facts. because-
Elon just exposed that though, like with how Twitter was before and then how Twitter is now.
Oh,
When he had all the
yeah.
picture with all the
Yeah.
girls and then the
Yeah.
picture with the
No.
men.
Yeah.
That's what it is, pretty
No,
much.
facts. I'm glad you pointed out how woke Marvel went because I really loved the first Black Panther. That's probably my favorite
me
Marvel
too.
movie.
I thought it was
I
great.
was like, Not even like, oh, this is a black representation movie. Just like the movie, the soundtrack.
It was good. Everybody loved
we saw
it.
it in 3D in
Yeah.
Colorado.
I saw it 2-3
twice.
times, yeah.
No, it was so good. The second one, I was irate.
I was so mad.
I was
Wait.
sitting by my mom. I was talking in the theater. I kept saying stuff out loud. My mom was like, "You have to be."
Is that the
quiet."
one with the Hispanic with the
Yeah.
Bro, I like that one, bro.
No, it wasn't that
Oh,
bad.
my
It
God.
wasn't that bad.
That movie
He was a
was
good
abs-
villain.
that
He was a
movie
great
was-
villain.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful
So
to me.
let me tell you about the first Black Panther. The woke people went nuts loving it. They called it a diverse movie.
Yeah.
Despite like 90% of the actors in it are black. And I'm like, yo, it's not diverse. I got no problem with it being Black Panther with black characters. I thought it was really good. And a lot of people on the right didn't like it. They're like, no, it was terrible. I'm like, no, it was really good.
It's a great movie.
The politics of it is T'Challa, Black Panther, wants closed borders. He says, we're not letting refugees in because they bring their problems. He literally says in the movie, he says, if we open our borders to the refugees, they're going to bring their problems into our country with them. He was like very Trumpian. And it was from the perspective of an African nation. Then Killmonger is basically like, we should arm all of the black people and have them rise up and take control. He was an ethno-nationalist. And I'm like, the politics of the first one was actually pretty good.
No, actually,
I didn't notice that. I didn't notice
That's
that.
exactly how it was.
Exactly what it was. And it, because in
That's
the
no
movie,
globalist.
it was a bunch of nations. Like, it was a bunch of different nations. Like, remember when he got all the leaders, he rose them up. He had to go get them. There's a bunch of different nations inside Wakanda. And they was all like their own thing, but they knew T'Challa was the supreme leader. And Killmonger pulled up, whooped his ass. He was like, yeah, this is my shit now. I was like, man, this is hard. Great movie.
Bro, but
So,
let me,
would y'all consider it like him dying and giving it to his sister? Is that
I
woke?
hated that as well. That
No,
was
no,
woke.
no, wait,
Why
wait.
is she a girl? Am I hating?
Shuri is a cool character.
I might be
But
hating.
having her be Black Panther was like,
Okay.
No, yeah.
they
that was a
could-
flop. She was a bad Black Panther. She got whooped. And her mama died. Everybody died under her.
It wasn't that.
Yeah.
No, literally, Wakanda
She
literally
wasn't that
failed
main
under
of a
her.
character in the first one to be the main character in the second
Exactly.
one.
No,
I thought they
I-
could have chose.
So
maybe
that's woke.
Michael B. Like
Well,
he done turned and he with them now. You know, that's what I was
No,
thinking.
I thought I ain't gonna lie. Her character in the first one was cool, but when they turned her character into the Black Panther,
Right.
it lost me. Like when she went to college and they had all the stuff and they came and got her like, oh, you have to be Black Panther. I said, oh, this is already terrible. This is already terrible. Then the underwater people come up and whoop everybody ass. They somehow stronger.
I actually like the water
wait,
people.
wait, wait.
Listen.
What the hell is
let me
this?
tell you about wokeness. All right, the first thing is they could have brought back any one of the strong male characters to take the mantle of Black Panther. Like there were people challenging T'Challa to be the Black Panther, but they wanted the woman to do it.
Okay.
And so,
Flop.
right, like just because they did that isn't inherently like the apocalypse. There's ways to salvage that, but I'll tell you, the problem I have with when woke people take over is that, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. Woke people are super racist.
Yeah.
You guys have seen the video of voter ID where
Yeah.
Amy Horowitz asks them, and all the college white kids are like, all about black people. Oh, they can't find the DMV. And it's insane, right?
It's
get
absolutely
no
absurd because
ID.
it's crazy because
But here, real quick, here's what happens with the second Black Panther. Okay, who's the bad guy? Namor, whatever, his name, Namor, right? How do they get in to Wakanda?
from the water.
Water.
Under the river, right?
Yeah.
So the Mexicans come through the river to illegally enter.
Oh my God.
And so I'm watching this movie, and literally a bunch of Mexicans. Dude, I'm not trying to be mean.
No, that's what happened.
I was trying to tell y'all.
They crossed-
I said,
And then-
underwater
and
You
Mexicans-
shouldn't have to say that.
And then
No, even Dr. Umar said, he said the underwater Mexicans came and zipped all the Africa. That's literally what he said. I said, Dr. Umar, you literally summarized it perfectly.
I didn't think about that.
When I watched it, I said, this is ridiculous.
it gets crazier. So in the beginning, they whatever they're called, they're Mexicans that live underwater. They they come through the river and up through the barrier of Wakanda, as if like Wakanda can't secure the water or whatever. And then they're like, how did they get in? I can't believe they entered Wakanda through our barriers and our Great Wall or whatever.
They drowned.
They show how Wakanda opens the barrier. Okay, in Infinity War, which is before the second Black Panther, when they're like, open the barrier, like, so you got the aliens attacking the force field, and they're like, if the aliens break through the barrier on behind us, we're screwed. And then T'Challa says, open section 7 or whatever. So Shuri hits a button and it opens up. The aliens all rush through and they fight them in a single file line.
Yeah.
In the second Black Panther, how do they open the barrier? Black men are banging on bongo drums.
Okay.
That I'm like,
They changed how
they changed it, and I feel like it was like some racist version of
Yeah.
like, if black people have computers, they bang drums. Just press a button, dude.
That's a good observation.
Those are great observations.
Facts.
But then it gets crazier. It gets crazier.
Very
How
stupid.
does Shuri defeat the Namor?
She cut his ankle, didn't she?
Well,
They were fighting on the water.
beach. They're on the beach fighting.
He let it ride.
he has wings on his feet.
Yeah, she cut
He's
his
Sicilian.
ankle,
He
yeah.
gets hurt, but that's not how she beats him. It turns out they discover that the underwater Mexicans, God, I'm not trying to be crass when I say this is literally what the movie's about, that when their skin is wet, it allows him to oxidize air, making him stronger. I could not believe it watching this movie. She defeats him by drying off his back.
Oh yeah, I remember.
He's standing in front of the ship, and she presses
That's
the button,
crazy.
and it blasts his back, and you see steam coming off. So the Mexican's back was wet, which made him stronger. And when she blasts him with fire, and the steam comes off, he falls down weak and unable to fight. I was like, who the made this movie, dude?
That is insane, but that is
They
true.
are so
I never
sneaky.
peeped that
They are
though.
so sneaky,
That
bro.
is crazy.
They are sneaky.
No, you want to know what's crazy? You want to know what's crazy?
And that goes back to
You
what
know
you were
what's crazy?
saying. We gonna trigger
I want to know another thing that you pointed out. The underwater Mexicans came in through the dam and they drowned all the people.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like,
I
yeah,
said,
the
this
black
shit
people
is
can't swim,
horrible.
so let's fight them on
Like,
water.
That made me so mad. I was like, wait, did they just drown everybody? They literally came in and filled the dome up with water. They had to open the dome because it was going to fill and everybody
Like,
was
dude,
drowning.
everything
This is
about that
ridiculous.
movie was racist stereotypes.
No, that was
Wow.
insane.
I didn't realize
Wild.
that.
Me either.
I didn't even.
No, and then they put all the people in Wakanda on a ship, and the underwater Mexicans just pulled them off the ship into the
Yeah.
water, and they was dying.
They couldn't swim.
Yeah, they
They
was
couldn't
going
swim.
underwater.
Black people can't swim.
Oh, I was like, this is ridiculous. That's why I hated that movie. I thought
So
that was
Captain America though, so him handing the black guy the shield, that's pretty woke.
I have no problem with that.
No, I mean,
No. Like, so like, this is the thing. The left, like the woke people will try and claim that the right is mad that Sam Wilson inherits the shield. And I'm like, why? Because he's black? I don't care. It's like Falcon's an awesome character.
He is.
Yeah, he is.
So they don't like, and this is what I'm saying. When Captain America meets Sam Wilson, it's this really great scene in the second Captain America where they're jogging and Captain America keeps running
Yeah, I remember
past
that.
him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, you don't. And he tries running after him. Like, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
that the criticism is not that Sam Wilson is a black guy or that he inherits the shield. It is kind of sad that, like, you know, Chris Evans retires from the role or whatever.
Yeah.
But the problem is the racism is like Wakanda Forever, the movie, making sure, look, the character of Shuri she's a genius, robotic technician, and she's super smart. Totally fine. There's literally nothing wrong with that. Trying to make her Black Panther,
That's
it's
not
like,
what her job was.
because they want a woman, you know, they're,
Hey, yeah,
Yeah.
strong
check-
black woman.
so this is the other thing they did with
Man
Ant-Man.
died under.
That's right. You have Ant-Man. That movie comes out. Everybody loves it. Paul Rudd's hilarious. It's kind of like a comedy. They tried making the second film, The Wasp and Ant-Man. And look at the cover. Evangeline Lilly, the woman, is facing forward and he's behind her looking over his shoulder. That's when they started really trying to be like, no male heroes, no white heroes. And they were trying to be like,
They had the 3-movie run with the women. They had Captain Marvel, they had Black Widow, and there was another one. Maybe it was the Ant-Man, the Wasp one.
might have been. Yeah,
Right,
well,
a 3-movie run. It was 3 women movies.
the Black Widow was not that good. And it's like nobody even remembers it. But Scarlett Johansson should have got a movie a long time ago. She's like the highest paid actress in the world. She's an
been
amazing
in Marvel too since the first
Right.
Iron Mans.
And so people were like, it's sexist. They never gave her a movie because she's a superstar. And why didn't she have it? And I'm like, I don't know that I would say it's like sexist or whatever, but I do think they would have made $1 billion if they made a Black Widow movie in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because everybody likes Scarlett Johansson.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway,
New
like,
Blade.
yeah. Apparently they're making a new Blade.
Wesley's in it. Yeah, Wesley Snipes is in it with the new actor. It's
I'm
Shayla
excited.
Ali, isn't
Yeah.
it? They got pushed back like twice. They pushed
Yeah.
it back like twice now.
Yeah. Anyway, long story short, because we're getting into like movies and stuff, I enjoy the conversation, but like, I feel like when these young millennials who are super woke and live this world through everything's got to be race and racialized, it turns to garbage.
Yeah.
And then we all get bummed out on it.
Facts. I feel like a lot of stuff now focuses on like equality and identity rather than the actual story and substance. Like everything. I feel like a lot of movies now fall short of making it an original good movie, and it's more focused on like identity and all this other crap.
This is the problem, right? Wakanda Forever had Ironheart in it. She's a young black woman who builds a robot suit. I'm like, okay, hold on. That's just Iron Man, but you've made Iron Man into a black
That
woman.
was Shuri's roommate.
Yeah. And then you have the problem, the wokeness that what I would describe as an element of wokeness for the new Captain America. It's called Brave New World, I think. I don't know. It's supposed to be called New World. It's where Sam Wilson is now Captain America. The problem I have with this is you're giving it's hand-me-down heroes.
Yeah.
So you have Spider-Man, and they're like, I got an idea. It's Spider-Man, but he's black. And they make that's what they did. They make Miles Morales.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got an idea. Why don't you make a new superhero?
And make him black.
And he's
It's
black.
crazy because if you know like comic book lore, there's literally thousands of
Yeah.
people they could pick from.
So you got what's the guy's name who plays Sam Wilson? Anthony
Mackie.
Anthony Mackie, is it?
Yeah.
He's great, but they're just making him Captain America, and it's like it's kind of just hand me down. Why didn't they just make the Falcon?
Yeah.
His character is fantastic. I'd love to see that movie. Why does it got to be
I never
hand me
thought
down?
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The white guy retired. Now it's the black guy's
Doesn't
movie
make- it doesn't-
afterwards.
It doesn't feel good. Yeah, when he handed him that, I was like, oh, I don't know if I like that.
I don't think it's woke for him to receive the shield. I think that's a character arc for a story. Whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
But in terms of our industry in Hollywood, they were like Captain America 4 will now be played by Sam Wilson, and I'm like,
Doesn't look
shouldn't the
good.
Falcon have his own movie? Yeah, he's a superhero.
I got a question. Why do you
He's a
think
cool hero too.
Why do you think Hollywood is so woke? Do you think that's how they try to normalize it through like movies and film and TV?
Yep.
Yeah.
They've controlled the institutions. I should say they, as in like leftist ideologues, and for a long time, social media, and they are really really good at taking control of these institutions, and the right has always ignored it. So it's like you look at the first Marvel movies, and you have Iron Man, the Hulk. The Hulk was kind of like nobody really liked it. Captain America, Thor. It's all white dudes. Yeah, I don't care if they said they wanted to make a Falcon movie and have a black superhero. That doesn't mean anything. So the problem is, instead of saying, okay, the next movie we want to do should probably focus on a character who's not another white guy. We've done 4 of those, right? We want to tackle other markets. Instead, they publicly announce, oh, it was racist to do all of this, and now we're going to have a woman come in. And like they make it their identity. Instead of just making good movies with good characters, they have to make sure the message is the identity of the project. And it's I don't know if it's because the financiers behind Hollywood want this ideology to be everywhere, but they all march in lockstep. You look at Mark Ruffalo's Twitter account, Chris Evans, they could not be more woke.
Yeah, no, it's insane you say that because I've noticed that a lot of Hollywood actors have been endorsing like left ideology. They publicly endorse. Like we were watching CNN panel the other day, and they had this black guy on there, and out of everybody there, he was literally the least qualified. He's an actor. I was like, what makes like I've always wondered this. This is something I've started to wonder now. What is up with Hollywood people thinking that their opinion or their endorsement like holds any validity? Like because you can play pretend really good on TV, your opinion means something?
That's brutal to me. Like you guys are bigger experts on any of this stuff than these guys in Hollywood, and you see like Oprah interviewing Kamala and stuff like this, and I get it. Like she's a cultural icon, but there are a lot of people who have zero experience in politics, like the Call Her Daddy podcast. She has no idea what she's talking about. I'm not trying to be mean to her. Like she's got a great podcast if you're dealing with like sex and gay women who want to hook up with each other. I'm not trying to be mean. That's like literally she talks about that stuff.
Talks about crazy stuff. I've seen clips. It's ridiculous.
Is that the one where JoJo was on?
Yeah, no,
I think that was
she was on
JoJo
Haktua.
That clip was crazy, man.
No, that was crazy.
I wonder why the left also be trying to push communism on everybody. That's so weird lately.
They, like a lot of I feel like a lot of that stuff is they're trying to push it, like normalize it almost, like, oh, equality for everyone. Well, like I don't believe in that. No disrespect. Like obviously I want people to be successful, but I don't think. Yeah, you got to work for it. You don't work, you don't eat. That's literally life. That's literally what everybody learns. Like if you don't work, you don't eat. Now they're trying to make it where, well, you working, but he ain't eating, so you got to cut off your plate and make sure he can eat too. And I just don't agree with that.
This is the universal healthcare argument. It's like there are a lot of people. We have morbidly obese homeless people. Like we got problems here. We've solved the hunger problem and I don't know if it's fair to say we solved it because nutrition is an issue, but when you have morbidly obese homeless people, like your problem has become a weird problem. And then they say we should give everybody universal health care, which means your labor and taxes should be taken out automatically so you can pay the healthcare bills of everybody. But you guys are athletes. You eat right, you train hard every day. Why are you paying the medical bills for somebody who wants to lay on a couch all day and just eat pizza and nachos and not exercise?
Yeah.
If you don't work, you don't eat. And if you overeat and you're out of shape, that's hey, look, man, I don't care if you're fat. You want to be big and fat and eat pizza 5 times a day and do whatever you want? Fine, but I'm not paying your medical bills.
Yeah.
That's actually mind blowing to think about. Yeah,
that's real. Yeah. See, in a sense, I do understand like the healthcare for everybody, but on the other hand, it's America and nothing's free.
Yeah.
So like somebody's paying for it, and I don't know. I feel like there's money, like we have enough money in America for something like that to happen, but all the money is not spent on that. Like we spend billions of dollars, hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars on other
Ukraine?
stuff rather than America. No, facts, rather than America. And to me, I think that's the thing that makes me feel more comfortable on the right, because America first. Like literally, this is just what it is. Like we literally live here, pay here. We this is our home. Why are we paying for someone else's home that we'll probably never go to?
That's crazy too. I mean, when did you guys like start seeing this? You start getting into politics, right? Do you start to ask questions about like, hey, wait a minute, they just gave $1 billion to like Ukraine and Taiwan and Israel, and we got a border crisis.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's gradual. It was definitely gradual. Like I think the more and more of the stuff we started ingesting, like at first I'd say we were kind of nervous to be like, we're conservatives, we're like openly, like, I mean,
Full MAGA.
Yeah, we were finding our identity in it a little bit, you know, and when you're finding your identity in something, you start to realize like there's going to be a lot of pushback and scrutiny on the outside of it. But the more and more we started to learn and get comfortable, and like we could watch the source without watching like Officer Tatum, and we could have our own discussions. I think once we got to that point, like where we weren't watching Benny Johnson and taking his word for it, we were watching it on our own and taking our word for it. I think once we got to that point, we're like, look, man, this is what it is. Like, I'll put the MAGA hat on. I don't give a damn.
You know what's crazy that you said that about, you know, the Medicare or whatever Kamala calls it, but she says that so much.
Yeah.
And it's just like, now I think that's woke stance. Now that you just said that, like, I got tired of her saying that so much, but now that you just said that, yeah, like people should.
I don't even know what she is offering. Well, yeah, I mean, you gotta do work, you know.
She said, we finally solved Medicare.
Now, what's crazy to me is that we funding all these wars and then allow all the people that's like impacted by the wars to come through our border, and then on top of that, they're trying to tell us to get rid of our guns.
Yeah.
Like that's just crazy to me.
That's the most crazy.
It's like,
You know, no, what's the craziest thing to me is illegal immigrants in New York and Chicago, free housing, free healthcare, food card. What was it?
Everything.
Refundable card or whatever, the card that basically the magic card that never runs out of money. All that stuff they're getting.
Yo,
and $700 to hurricane survivors.
this is the craziest thing to me, because
That's
like
insane.
what's happened now is in places like Chicago, you've got black people being like, you keep telling us there's no money for reparations, and then you gave all this money to people who don't even live here to buy houses, to get apartments, to pay their bills. Yo, in Chicago, the black community had activists literally saying we are being replaced.
Oh, for sure.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
they were dumping them in black neighborhoods. Like
Yeah.
I remember I saw this was something that should have been the final straw for any rational thinking person. There was a school that closed down in like Massachusetts or somewhere due to lack of funding.
Yeah, I see.
So they closed the school down. Kids couldn't go to school. There's predominantly black school. Legal immigrants come in. They refurbished?
Refund?
Yeah, refurbished the whole school.
refurbished.
They fixed it up, turned it into a housing floor on the top unit, and on the bottom floor, the kids for illegals go to school.
Wow.
And they did all that after closing the school due to lack of funding. That's insane.
I was talking to this more liberal guy, black dude, on this show like a couple months ago, and I said, "Here's my compromise. Let's seize all the Bureau of Land Management property, all on the West Coast and the Rockies. Give reparations. I'd rather see the federal government lose access to this land and American citizens have access to it in whatever form that takes. But additionally, it's like I would rather see every dime spent on Ukraine paid in reparations. And there's a lot of people who are like, I don't like reparations. I don't want reparations because it's racist. It's bad policy. No, I agree. I think it creates animosity if you start giving out money based on race. I'm just saying, priority-wise, why are we giving money to a foreign country before we're giving it to our own people for literally any reason?
Yeah,
I agree.
exactly.
100%. America first.
I'm against reparations, but I agree with that.
I'm saying it's like a tier thing. The issue I take with reparations is that, you know, maybe like back in the day, if they promised 40 acres and a mule, you should have done it.
Yeah.
But now it's like, dude, there's gonna be a white dude who's like great grandmother's black, but he's white as they come, and he's gonna get reparations. Like, I don't think that works for anybody.
Yeah.
It's just not feasible at all.
No, it just doesn't make sense logically. I mean, we're so far removed from slavery in America, and it's become so diverse with who lives in America. Like
Will Smith is gonna get reparations.
Yeah.
Sonny Hostin was on The View talking about she needs reparations.
Exactly. I'm like, you're a millionaire.
She's a Bronx Boricua.
It's no country you can go to and become a millionaire. like America.
Yeah,
as a black person, you don't. That means we don't deserve reparations. Period.
But for real, like the greatest opportunity for people of any racial background to become rich is America, because you look at the competition, which is going to be like, sure, there's European countries who have a better shot, but it's not as good. I think China has more millionaires than the United States, but you're not going to be a millionaire there unless you're Chinese.
Yeah.
They're like very ethno-nationalist and communist.
Yeah, like if you come from Africa and you're in poverty, your chance is what? 0.
No, yeah, my grandma said in Ghana, if you are born poor, you will die poor.
That's it. So our reparations to me is being in America, period.
Yeah, no, I really feel like this is a promised land. Like,
Yeah.
this is like, when I look around, first of all, in my life, I've lived in 4 different states in my adult life. I mean, I was raised in Oklahoma, didn't experience any direct racism that impacted my life. I went to school in rural small town Kansas for 4 years. Didn't did any racism there. Went to South Louisiana. I remember my advisor, when she was writing my letter of rec to get into Louisiana, she looked me dead in the face, said, it's going to be hard in the South because you're black. She said that to me. She was meant it like from good intentions, but she said that dead to my face. And I was like, okay. And I went to Louisiana, and it was a great experience. Like, nobody treated me bad. Everyone was super friendly. I'm well-spoken. I mean, I'm respectful. Yes, sir. No, sir. And just being that in the South, it took me a long way. Like, and I don't know. That did a lot for me. I mean, so
Do you guys?
I don't believe in the racism thing.
Do you guys know about the talk?
What's the talk?
So there was this campaign that went viral several years ago, like liberals were posting, where it showed like a black mom sitting down her son, or like a black dad coming and talking to their kid. And they were like, the talk is when the parent finally tells their kid that the police will kill you.
Oh, wow.
That if you get pulled over, you have to do these things. And the idea was that among these like uppity liberal white people, they've never experienced the talk. And it's like
insane.
Black people in America have to have the talk because the police may kill or harm their children. And it was wild because like every poor person in this country, regardless of race, was like, what do you mean? We always tell our kids how to handle cops.
Yeah.
Like when I was little, my dad told me, he's like, when you get pulled over, you turn the dome light on, turn the car off, keys, wallet on top of the dash with your hands on the wheel. When they approach, the window's already down, and you say, I'm going to grab my wallet, and you hand it to them, and you keep your hands visible.
Yeah, I feel like
They said that was a
kinda
race
sound.
thing.
No,
that's
my dad had
crazy.
that same talk with me that you just said right there.
Yeah, my mom.
It's not a race
My
thing
dad
at all.
told me, just comply. Yes, sir. No, sir. Be respectful. Don't argue. Just do what they want. That's literally what it is.
Matter
I
of fact,
think it's a point that all people teach their kids that it's not a race thing.
But they made
yeah,
the
and
talk
they made
a
it
race thing.
thing. Yeah, that's the problem.
matter of fact, that just happened to me. In Dallas the other day.
You want to know what I think is ridiculous? The Trump.
Look at this.
On
Look at this.
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia, the talk.
Wow.
Look at this. The talk is a colloquial expression for a conversation Black parents in the United States feel compelled to have with their children and teenagers about the dangers they face due to racism, unjust treatment from authority figures.
Law enforcement.
Look, like okay, so maybe the talk that I had is not the same thing. Maybe Black parents are literally talking a lot more, but the way it was depicted and explained, I was like, I feel like everybody I knew on the South Side of Chicago had this conversation with their kids, like my friends had their parents talk to them about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my parents didn't bring race into it at all.
Yeah.
Same things you just said.
Yeah.
I had that exact words.
Yeah.
It says like how
My parents told
to
me just
dress, how to walk and act and be mindful of how others could perceive them. I feel like every parent tells their kid that.
Yeah.
They made it a race
It's
thing.
literally just
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
As well. There's a story that I like to tell about this where I was at Occupy Wall Street. There's a group of people hanging out, and this Black dude that I knew was like, I'm gonna go run across the street to Burger King, and this white dude goes, hey, can you grab me a double cheeseburger when you're over there? And he goes, the what? And it like, I'm not gonna swear, but he's like, the F? And then he walks off. Then when he comes back from the bathroom, I was talking to him, and he's like, you see what dude tried doing? And I was like, no, what did he do? He's like, he asked me to get him his cheeseburger like I'm his boy. And I was like, what? I was like, aren't you guys friends? And he's like, yeah, I thought we were. But he thinks I'm his boy. I'm going to get him a cheeseburger. And I was like, I kind of just thought he was asking you to get him a cheeseburger, dude. I don't know.
It's all about perspective.
That's
It
it.
is.
offended, bro.
That was delusional.
But he was offended by it. He took it as like a white dude asking me to get him his food is not a thing you're allowed to do. And I don't blame him for feeling that way. I think when you grow up being told by all these people that this is racism.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I grew up, somebody would ask me to get him a cheeseburger. I didn't think twice. I'd be like, okay, I like, you got $1? Because you got to give me the
Yeah,
money.
exactly.
Yeah, a lot of times it doesn't even have to come from your parents. Like, it could just be indoctrinated at the school, man.
Oh, man,
That's
that's-
really the
your
problem.
friends
There's a lot of
too.
forms of indoctrination. Social media could be one for sure, especially for like young impressionable children.
Yo, look at this. The talk has been described as an example of preparation for bias. It includes pulling your vehicle over right away, keeping your hands visible on the steering wheel, not making sudden moves, not reaching for items, being as polite as possible, yes, sir, officer, not arguing even if you're right. The perception of a need for these behaviors is described as racialized legal cynicism. Bro, I don't care what your race is. If you don't pull over for a cop, you're going to jail.
You're done.
What, dude?
That's actually stupid as hell. I ain't gonna lie. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
You know the picture. They're gonna say you got white privilege. You don't have to get pulled over.
do these like white Vox.com and PBS liberals not pull their car over when the cops have their sirens on or behind them and they just keep going?
Oh, I'm white. I'll keep going. All right, try that, buddy.
Yeah, that's right. Like, they're gonna pull you out of that car. They're gonna beat the crap out of you.
You wanna know what's crazy? I've seen people saying that Trump's immunity is so like police can get away with killing black people, and like they're saying like you're voting for like you to get killed by police if you vote for Trump.
That's actually one of the biggest black talking points right now. Every
That's
time
ridiculous.
I talk to somebody black, they say that right there.
Well, I don't understand why people don't understand what like the immunity is. Like you still have to do your job correctly. Like
Yeah.
they're not just gonna let the cops go do bad stuff
On a
and
mass
get away with
murder.
it. That's ridiculous.
He's basically just saying, hey, if something happens and
It was on
it
accident.
was on accident and these factors played out and he seemed like he needs to be out of jail, he's gonna be out of jail.
Like I think like an example of that would be that cop and that woman that got
think
got
they're-
stabbed in the face with the knife.
I think they're upset that he brought it up though. I think that's probably about their
Well, I'm just not understanding why like they think it's crazy. Like we're losing police officers like in multiple cities. Like number of cops is down. You need a way for because they don't feel safe. They
Yeah.
feel like if they get in trouble,
true.
they'll get persecuted. They'll go to jail. Like
Yeah.
Chauvin, maybe it was justified he went to jail. I'm not here to talk about that. But anyways, yeah, no, we're losing cops because they don't feel safe. So we need more cops. We need law and order to keep us
yeah.
safe.
It's the Ferguson
So-
effect.
yeah, so I mean, yeah, so like that's just the law, so that when the police are doing their job, they can feel protected if shit go left.
Yeah, I don't think these
understand why
people live in
everybody- I don't
reality.
understand why everybody act like that's so crazy.
If something
I'm
were
sorry,
to
I'm crazy.
happen-
Am I allowed to do that?
If something were to happen right here, right now, we would be asking, how fast can the police get here? So if
Exactly.
we defund the police, what are we supposed to do? Oh, we're gonna take the matter into our own hands.
No,
I mean, we
Well, here's the issue about living in the country, especially in West Virginia. Well, the first thing happens is we notify the police, and then it is expected of you to take care of it to the best of your abilities. That's when you live out in the country in a constitutional carry state. And we saw this in Florida when I can't remember, it was like a few years ago. There's like a storm or whatever. The sheriff said, if looters come knocking, Florida residents shoot.
Oh yeah.
And Florida has stand your ground. And that's crazier because that's a denser urban environments. But even they're saying like, so if something were to happen here, we're in West Virginia. We are armed quite a bit. And so if something happens, we call the police, let them know, and then don't
Protect yourself.
Don't
Well, just
exactly.
die.
Don't come here. Because we the fight you win is the fight you never have. But in a state like West Virginia, the police are going to be like, you did what you had to do.
Yeah.
It's a sad story. We don't want it to happen, but this is the law in this state.
Yeah.
So I much prefer it.
Yeah, no.
Growing up in Chicago, the bullets start flying. They go, did you consider hiding? And it's like, man. That's so. When I lived in New Jersey, the way the law works in New Jersey, at least this is what they told me. The cops told me this, and a lawyer told me this. If someone breaks into your house, you have to flee. If you shoot and kill them, you will be arrested and charged with murder.
I ain't going there. I ain't going.
You can then. They say no, hold on, it's okay, because when you're appearing before the judge and he asks you why did you kill this man, you can say it was self-defense. And it says, congratulations, you've admitted to killing somebody. Now we're going to have a trial to determine whether or not you didn't have to do that. And so when I was talking to the cops, and again, a lawyer about this, and I said, what is the circumstance where I'm allowed to defend myself in my home in New Jersey? It's really hard to get a gun. Not the hardest thing. It took me like 3 months. And if you know what you're doing, you go to a gun shop, you could probably get it done in a month. And they were like, well, the first thing you have to do is flee your home. If someone breaks in your house and you're armed and you have the opportunity to flee, you cannot shoot the person.
That is.
And I was like, so wait. If like a guy comes to my house and he's got a shotgun and he says, where's Tim Pool? I'm coming to get him. And I'm going to end him or whatever. I can't defend myself. I have to run. He said, yes.
Even if he has a gun?
Yeah. And
We got
he
kids
kicked.
in the house, and they.
So then they were like, right. So what you're basically, so if you've got people to defend, you can try and make that argument. He said the cops were like, we will arrest you. You will be charged. You have made an admission to the murder. And then you can have a jury decide whether or not you were justified.
That's insane.
And so he said,
I would never live there.
if you go to a court and you are in front of a jury in New Jersey and you say, the man broke into my house threatening to kill me and harm my family, so I shot him. The prosecutor's going to say, why didn't you run away? And you say, where do I run to? And then the response was, what you are telling the jury is you would rather kill a man than stand outside barefoot.
Yes.
And the jury is going to convict you. They're going to be like, wow.
That sounds unreal.
Yeah.
Well, New Jersey's super liberal.
Are you
They're
for
super
real?
liberal.
So like,
Sounds like a crappy
so
place to
somebody
live.
just steal your car, steal everything. It's just, hey, they just stole it.
Yeah, man.
I mean, look, in states like that, it is incumbent upon the victim to avoid in all circumstances anything that escalates harm. So and to assume you're going to be safe. This is a crazy thing. In West Virginia, there's reasonable issues, right? If a guy is walking on, let's say you got a big property and it's 50 acres, and a guy is walking on it, you can't just shoot him. That's crazy.
Yeah.
If the guy is waving a weapon around, you can defend yourself because a guy's trespassing on my property with a weapon. I have a reasonable fear of harm. It's a sad tragedy, especially if it was an accident or whatever happened, but it's not you, the victim's fault, if you have to make a difficult decision. In places like New Jersey and Maryland, nah, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
You as the victim have to be aware and have to run away and hide. And Dad, you can't live that way.
So that's why the liberals were mad at Trump probably for that then.
Well, remember we saw that video in California. The guy, like people, we watched it was a reaction we did, and like a guy had his I think we see him walk into the house with his family. Like it was like his wife and like a young daughter, I think.
Oh yeah, in L.A.
As soon as they get in the house, two dudes come behind him and like try to run up on him, and he shoots at them, both of them. They took his gun. The state took his gun.
his
I was like,
concealed carry
what?
license, yeah.
That is
Like,
so.
They
At
revoked
least
it.
he didn't get charged because it was like they had everything
Right.
on camera, and it was like clearly. But I mean, if there was no camera in California and they took the gun, like what could have?
It's not common sense, bro.
It's not at all.
I just
Like,
don't-
let's just let my family die.
Like
So, you know what I'm saying? I
you're
don't
allowed
offend
to have
anybody.
a gun at your home in California, and this man used the gun in his home to defend himself against armed robbers, and they took his concealed carry away.
Not common sense.
That's insane to me.
So imagine that, taking my gun, opening the border.
It just
Defunding the police all at the same
At
time.
the same time.
let all-
This is what we do. This is my
let the
plan.
cartel
All right,
come
y'all want to
through.
do that? We want to get these
Step in,
far
dog.
left radical laws. Let's get some land for y'all. Y'all go over there. Y'all do that. Let's see how good that goes.
I'm
Come
down.
back if it don't go good.
I agree. I was saying we should take like 50 square miles in like Utah or something.
Yeah.
And we'll tell all the leftists like we are going to fund exactly what you
Everything.
want. Like you
To the T.
we're going
Y'all decide.
$1 billion at the taxpayer pocket so that you can build this, and then we get to film it and put it on TV.
They're going to turn into
They
zombies.
gonna say Hunger Games season 1.
and George Carson said that as a
George Carlin.
He did.
yeah.
Yeah, we watched that. That was a reaction.
did.
video, Yeah.
That thing they'd be like, okay, I love this when they were doing the pro-Palestine protests at the universities.
Oh man, that
They
was
had-
ridiculous.
the knee pads and lotion.
But like, so we pulled up a video and I'm like, okay, so this is a protest against Israel, right? Take a look at this picture. And they have the People's Library and they have like the People's Kitchen. And I'm like, now explain to me what communism has to do with Israel. It doesn't. It's just communists are trying to use whatever cause they have to set up little communes. I'm just imagining if we created this like 50 square mile jurisdiction and funded it, there's going to be like 50 libraries and no farms.
Yeah.
For real. Because nobody wants to do work.
Yeah.
There was a funny meme where some leftist was like, when we achieve communism, what are you going to do? And then someone says, I think I'll host poetry and art classes at my farm. It's really exciting. And then someone responded with, your farm?
Not yours.
Not
Oh,
yours.
that's not happening.
That's ours.
You're going to be breaking rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody wants to live that way, dude. Well, it's crazy because people are starting to wake up.
No, they are.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, especially a lot of black people, because I mean, black people do like, they really don't like that type of stuff.
Fundamentally.
But yeah, but they just,
Hard to think.
yeah,
that
they're
way.
just so victim mentality. So the left gets them, and Democrats gets them basically from that. So
No, it's
if
absurd.
if they start waking up, oh, I think the Democrats will be canceled for 100+ years.
Do you guys think Trump is going to get a big boost from black voters this time around?
I do.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like to, I really do believe so. I really think he's winning like this, like in a landslide right now, because everything I'm seeing coming from Kamala's corner is saying desperation. Like the media blitz, which has been completely backfiring on her.
Yeah.
She's went on podcasts. It seems scripted. She's not sitting down with anybody. She sat down with Brent. He grilled her. She went on The View. I wouldn't do anything different than Joe Biden. That was bad.
Dubs in the chat.
To call her daddy was bad.
Yeah, hey,
This is crazy that she goes on Breakfast Club, she goes on Fox, and all of these Democrats are like, wow, she's so good. How did she do so well? And we're sitting here. It doesn't even matter if you're a Trump supporter. We're like, dude, look at the poly market.
Exactly.
Trump's up 20 points. Like, regular people saw that and went, whoa, Kamala Harris is going to lose. But these people live in this crazy world where they're like, no, it was the greatest interview ever done.
It's absurd. It's absurd.
On drugs, man.
No, something I think is crazy is that,
Even
like,
they
on the
states.
news, they push their opinions as fact. Like, this is supposed to be where people come to get informed. And we've got the anchors telling you their opinion, and they're telling you like it's the truth. I think that's crazy.
no, that's insane.
I think that's I actually have a problem.
I don't know though. Do you think they're going to cheat?
I keep saying that. I feel like they got
I mean,
a Hail
it's,
Mary in
it's
their
definitely a
back pocket.
possibility. Did you
I
just
think that they can't, again, not in the same way, unless they come up with a new method, because everybody's aware of it, I think.
Hey,
COVID was the best time to do it, so I
That
don't
was a
think it's
great
gonna
time.
happen.
I ain't gonna lie. When we sit here and we kind of like figure out what the plans were of the Democratic Party, oftentimes, and when we say this, we're not talking about like all Democrats, obviously. It's like, the far radical ones. They come up with some smart ass ideas to like get what they want, like the COVID, like trigger black people with the music and all these things. It's like, damn,
See, if
that was a smart plan.
only reason
we
we're
need
like
to get
this-
some smart plans on our
The
side.
only reason we're like this is because of YouTube, though. Because we can sit there, we can get
see it.
paid
Yeah.
to
Yes.
sit there and really dissect this.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, my mother, on the other hand, she can't sit there and dissect it. So when I come to her, and it blows her mind when I'm saying it, because she's starting to
No one
realize.
will argue with me on the other side anymore. They'll be, well, this and that. But well, show me an example. They'll say this, and that happened. Show me. You can't.
Yeah.
So why someone just told you that happened, and you can't show it to me.
It's crazy.
It will
Like-
not argue. People on the left will not argue.
That's the funny thing about when people call you guys grifters. When the reality is you're on the internet watching this stuff every day.
all day?
You see it happen in real time, and you're like, this informs my opinion.
Yes.
These other people don't watch it, have no idea what's going on.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
to them, the only explanation is you're grifting for money.
And, it's crazy. It's crazy because what he said, we have time to sit and research this stuff, watch this stuff. We spent at least a year and a half now really doing this every single day, literally every day. And like he said, the normal average person who has to go to work and do all this other stuff, they don't have time to do what we do. So they're getting their news and information from TV,
Other people, too.
from the mainstream media.
They play
And-
telephone.
Yeah,
Yep.
and they're being conditioned and told what to think. Like the news. This is my problem with the mainstream media on all platforms. They'll bring up like a news topic, and then they'll break it down and give you their opinion and tell you that's what you're supposed to think. This is what you're supposed to get from this, and it's like an opinion. I'm like, well, that's what you think from that. This could be interpreted different ways based on how you look at it.
And then the problem is the moderator to me, though. Because, I mean, everybody's really supposed to have their own opinion. But when the moderator gets involved and make it seems like a person's wrong, when Abby Phillip on CNN, it's like, well, I mean, Scott, I mean, that's not right. I mean, that's obviously debunked. Then
find that
another
irritating.
person, a regular citizen, is going to be like, well, then Abby's right. Yeah, that's not right.
yeah, no.
You know what's funny to me is like, I don't care about a person's race or background when it comes to what their political leaning is. Let me rephrase this. I am not surprised that somebody would come to support Trump or be right wing, regardless of their race, if they're athletes.
yeah, because we work hard.
Exactly. So it's like at a certain point, you're kind of like, how come these people who are eating and lying around and not working want my money? It's like every day I wake up. So for me, like I skate, we got the skate park in here. I take it very seriously, and it's not because I'm going to win a competition or because I'm going to get a scholarship. It's because I want to improve and be better than myself yesterday. So this morning, like I do this every day. My breakfast is a 2-egg omelet with goat cheese and avocado and a protein shake. And so like tracking macros and stuff like that. And then I try to avoid bad foods. But to be honest, Allison was visiting family. So this week all I ate was cheese off of pizzas. I don't eat the bread and wings. When cheese is around, I eat better. But every day I'm paying attention and I'm reading and researching. And I'm like, how can I be better than I was? If you have that mentality, you're going to start looking at what's going on in the world and you're going to say, yeah, that doesn't make sense. This does. It doesn't matter what your race is. So it's like when I hear you guys are like athletes at school, you're in school, you're learning, you're getting your master's, whatever, you're running track. I'm like, dude, no matter what happens, these people are turning to the right.
Yeah.
Meritocracy and hard work.
Definitely.
I agree with that too. And I think sports has like, that's why I'm so big on sports, especially for young men, because it's like, it teaches you structure. It teaches you, okay, I have to be here at this time. If I don't, this will happen.
Yeah.
And it gives you a sense of belonging, especially like for black men, because that's why I think a lot of, black men join gangs, because it's like they don't have a sense of belonging. So
big.
I'm with him, these the guys, I'm with the crew, da-da-da, this is what we do. But if you can get that same feeling from football, like especially, as a man, you have testosterone. You want to, there's times where you got to get aggressive, It's like you want to get aggressive. Like it's a natural feeling in all men. So if you have no outlet towards that, and then you also don't have a male role model telling you, hey, you can't do it in this way, like they telling you you can do it in this way, like in sports or boxing or whatever. And so that gets released into the wrong way.
Yeah.
No, that might be actually.
That was a
That's a
great
great analogy.
way you
because
broke that down. That's big.
If we think about that girl that said being on time was white supremacy,
Oh, that was-
somebody, an athlete would never think like that.
Hell no.
Because we know we have to be there to be great on time.
Yeah.
You're not going to be in the race.
If you're not there, you ain't getting in the game. You're
not
going
gonna-
home.
yeah.
You
But
wanna
it's like,
know something?
I was an hour late. It's like, well, the race is over.
Yeah, you missed it.
White supremacy.
Your relay team just lost because of you.
Y'all didn't race with the black man.
and I, like Brock said, I think sports is, like he said, the structure and like life lessons it teaches you. Like if you work for something, you can achieve it. You can take that, like let's say you want to get on the field as a football player. You got to work. You got to remember all these plays. You got to go the extra mile than the people around you. I mean, that's a life lesson. You can apply that same thing to be successful in anything.
You know what's crazy that I just told my parents, like I think last weekend watching the football game, because my dad always, he's voting for Trump now. I got him to vote for Trump now. But like, he always used to say, man, they always let the white boy sit on the sideline as the backup quarterback. They never want to pay the black man to sit down on the sideline as a backup quarterback. I said, you know what, Dad? Have you ever thought about the black man's attitude on the sideline? Because black people do, like in sports, they're passionate, but and they could be on the sideline. Man, I should be in the game. I should be doing this. I said, but are you thinking about, is the white guy just playing his role and sitting back, knowing the plays, knowing what to do if his time is called up? Because like Cam Newton, he's always upset about, man, it's not these many quarterbacks better than me, woo, woo, woo. But his attitude is different than a lot of people. And then he said, you know what? I never thought about that. My older brother sat there and said, I never thought about that, bro. I said, I think that's what it is, man. It's not that this black, they don't want to play the black man to sit on the sideline. It could be possibly because of the attitude.
They're going to put who the best player is going to get in the game. That's the best. That's the beauty of sports.
But the
best player will get in. The best backup will be the backup.
Best option
They don't have
will
black
be out
backups because not a lot of black quarterbacks. There's not a lot of black quarterbacks because black people are fast. They need them out wide.
Spread them out. I don't know.
Spread out.
I think it's because of attitude, bro, because I know how I am.
You throwing the ball for it.
That's
You better
it.
get in the cover too.
I feel like if I'm Caleb Williams or somebody, and then I'm a backup for Kirk Cousins.
We got Kirk Cousins and we got Tyreek Hill. Tyreek not gonna be the quarterback. He never gonna be the
I'm saying a
quarterback.
black quarterback though.
Huh?
A black quarterback. I'm saying like
Okay, so if he can
actual
sling it, he can sling it better than the white boy. He gonna be in there.
But you don't think a coach can make that decision off like, okay, well, he does too much on the sideline.
you-
I'd rather
Yeah.
this guy.
Yeah, but there could be a white quarterback who does too much too, though.
Yeah.
It happens.
So, it's funny, though. I don't know enough about football, but I can tell you, we don't see these woke people getting complaining about the domination of black people in the NBA.
Oh, you don't.
Everybody's fine with it.
Yeah.
It's like it's great. We love sports. People love basketball, and there's no conservative or liberal who's complaining about the racial component of the sport. But it's the other way around in some industry, Hollywood or whatever. They throw a fit. Mm-hmm. It's got to be.
They do that with quarterbacks a lot.
Yeah,
though, man.
they do. But that's why I agree with whenever we were thinking about affirmative action and we were kind of breaking that down, and I was really trying to okay, do I agree or do I disagree? I disagree when they put it in sports, like the analogy, like we don't need the best players will play, and like the schools, like okay, at Harvard, if Harvard is 99% Asian because they like school, that's better. They smart. That's what they deserve.
Here's the way
no black people there. That's all y'all.
The way I put it was when these liberals tell me that they're like for affirmative action, I said, okay, here's what I want you to do. There's a poor Asian kid who grew up in Chicago. His parents are from Chicago, so they don't know anything else. Tell him he doesn't get to go to Harvard because he looks too much like those people over there.
Exactly.
They're like, it's crazy to me that they're like, I looked at your
outrageous.
face and your skin is a certain tone. You can't go to the school. That makes no sense.
That is racism.
Right.
That is racism by textbook definition.
Yeah.
We're gonna start wrapping up though.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to give like your final thoughts or anything and shout out whatever you want, we'll go through everybody. Whoever wants to go.
Thanks for having us on. It was
Nah, it was a
talk.
great time.
That was
Yeah, it's
great.
fun.
Come back.
It's great.
Yeah, thank you, man.
the
That's-
opportunity.
Love to come back again.
No, for
Anytime.
sure.
Yeah, we'll
That
definitely.
was awesome.
Subscribe to us, Cartier Family on YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and get y'all that Can't
Drop
Fold
some new
merch.
Can't
Can't Fold merch, can'tfold.com right now.
That's a good one. Any final thoughts though? Do you guys have like individual X accounts or anything, or do you have like just Cartier family?
Cartier Family on X.
Cartier Family with a Z on X.
Rumble.
Check us out. We post all our content there. If you don't like YouTube, we're on Rumble, Cartier Family. I mean, you can find all our personal accounts if you go follow those accounts. They're all linked.
Tim's an awesome guy, man. I used to watch your content. I mean, we were like 15K maybe, man. I was like, man, this guy here, this guy's awesome. He's getting some numbers,
I appreciate it, man.
And
Well, I'll say it again as I wrap up for my final thoughts is like, my mom, I mentioned, I think on the members only that we were having you guys on, and she immediately texted me like, I watch them all the time. I'm such a big fan. And then she sent me your AC/DC video, and she's like, look, watch this video. So she's super excited. I know she's watching right now.
So,
hey, Mom.
Yeah.
Shout out,
Thank you.
Mom.
Thank you.
Yeah, shout
That's
out.
how we got on with
She's in the chat,
Vivek
too.
Ramaswamy
That's
too.
crazy, yeah.
Vivek's parents saw him and sent them to us.
Oh, right on.
Vivek.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. This has been awesome. This has been a lot of
Thanks for
fun.
having us.
Thank you.
So for everybody else, you can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. We're back tonight at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Subscribe to the show, share it with everyone you know, and we'll see you all tonight.
All right.